All right, what's going on? Discord's telling me my camera is at a low frame rate. I've never seen this warning before. I don't know what the hell's going on, but waiting for the guys to show up. I just sent out, I'm just going to do a juice opinions, and all of a sudden everybody's in the chat. So I don't know who will be here and how long. I think Sandstorm said he'd be here. I know he did. So we'll see. But yeah, what's up? I kind of expected I expected the Switch 2 hype to carry us through until the system comes out at least. But yeah, we'll tell our once everybody's here, we'll tell our pre-order stories, who was successful, who wasn't. Um, what did you pre-order? And stuff like that. What's up, Donnie? Um, I want to talk about our biggest concerns, or maybe Robert or Retro won't have any, but I have at least one. Get into, and yeah. So until everybody gets here, I did a thing the other night. I finished Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, original Super NES version, and I don't know if I ever beat it. Like, I don't think I did a full second playthrough. Um, from about 97 or 1998, I sold my Super Nintendo. I kept A Link to the Past in the box, which I have. It's complete edition. It's in really good condition. I don't know if I'd say it's not mint, but excellent. What's up, Lenny? What's up, Matthew? So this is my original. I got it in a clear plastic, so it looks shiny, but a few little blemishes here and there. But it's in really good, excellent condition. And my save file was still there. And I sold my Super Nintendo. I'm pretty sure it's after I had GoldenEye, because I was really playing my N64, and my cousin didn't have anything, and he offered me $100 for my Super Nintendo at the time, and I had to really struggle to get the N64 to cash in all my bonds that my uncle had given me from Christmas for all when I was growing up. And I took the money, but I kept that Legend of Zelda and Madden 93 for whatever reason. But I got it back in 2019, November 9th, 2019. I picked my Super Nintendo up from my cousin. I bought it back from him for $80, and it had a complete in box but in fair condition Super Mario RPG. And like a dumbass, I took it to the local retro game store, and he gave me like $45 for it. Yeah, I had to cash in my savings bonds from my uncle so I could afford the N64, because my dad wasn't gonna fund it for sure. So yeah, from 97, 98 to 2019, this has been in a box. This game was in a box, sealed, not sealed, but not turned on, no power to it. And I booted it up in 2019 just to make sure the Super Nintendo worked, and my save file was still there. I was shocked. I heard 5 to 10 years on those battery backups. And so anyway, you there, T? Let me make sure your mic's working.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. And so I booted up. Now that I have the Retro Tink scaler, I booted up Link to the Past, and I said, you know what? I just beat the original Zelda game. Let me just start a new save. And I completed the game, and I got more hearts. My initial playthrough, I had 17 hearts. And this one I had 19 and 2 heart pieces. I could not find the last 2 heart pieces. And I looked it up, and one of them was just Kakariko Village, the old bandit thief like basement that the woman tells you about. There's a bomb wall, and I didn't have bombs when I went down there. I thought I had. I didn't remember that, so I had to go back down there, bomb it, get the heart piece. So I got all the hearts. I had to look 2 of them up, and I was struggling to find the 4th bottle. And I didn't look it up directly, but I was like, "Who's this dude in the desert?" Like the average, whatever it says, average middle-aged man or whatever. And I just saw like the first part of what to do. Is, oh wait, yeah, I gotta do something with him. and that was how you get the fourth bottle. But so I 100% of the game. I hadn't played it. I mean, I played it on the Wii U Virtual Console. I believe I beat it that way, or maybe the Wii Virtual Console. But playing it again right after the original Zelda game, it it actually surprisingly felt way easier than I remember. Even though I died more times, my original save file I only died 12 times, and I died 20 on this one. So it felt easier, but I feel like I died more. So for whatever reason, but it was just kind of cool. Like, I know T been telling me this for years, playing on original hardware, original controller, and ever since I hooked the RetroTink up to my OLED TV upstairs, it's just like I mean, it looks better than the Switch Online Super Nintendo games. Now, the N64 is a different story. Like, that's way higher resolution than the original. To a fault in some games, it's too clean looking in some games, but the N64, the RetroTink, it's just known. An N64 is really hard to get on a modern display without doing mods, RGB mods and stuff to the board. It looks all right.
HDMI mod.
Yeah.
Like I did.
It looks all right, but it's, it's not. I think the Super Nintendo, I actually haven't hooked the NES up to the TV upstairs, but so I honestly, like, that's all last 2 weekends, all I played was Super Nintendo, minus a little Street Fighter 6 on the PS5. I haven't touched my Switch, haven't touched the PS5 hardly. No Xenoblade Chronicles X, I haven't touched it in weeks. I'm on like chapter 5, and honestly, I was just kind of waiting for some kind of acknowledgement for that game for a Switch 2 upgrade. I kind of feel like Switch 2 edition's inbound, a $10 upgrade fee, which will be a bummer. I don't think I'm gonna pay for that, but so I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles X. I'm kind of waiting, and then but I've been playing my Super Nintendo. Last night I played Tecmo Super Bowl for about 4 hours, maybe not 4 hours, probably about 2. Got my ass beat by the Bucks, and what was his name? Number 17, the QB back then.
Wait, what year?
92, 93. DeBerg.
Wow.
Steve
That's before
DeBerg.
me. That's before my fandom.
Yeah, it was Steve DeBerg, and it just got destroyed. But either way, it's been fun.
I came around with Trent Dilfer.
Yeah. But what's up, Robert?
Yo.
What do you got there?
The Cruel King and the Great Hero.
Is that a limited run deal, or is that just a legit physical copy?
Have it?
Was that a real physical game, or is it a limited run?
It's a game. I remember this they would say a download code on the thing.
It's not a download. I just meant, is it limited run or like an actual release?
No, this is an actual. This is from NIS, which does a decent amount of things.
I'd be curious. I didn't check out Terrell's video. We're super busy at work, and somebody said it was hilarious, or retro, or somebody was said that he
was gushing on Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah.
Mr. Terrell.
What? Oh, yes. It's nothing crazy. It's my usual. I really like the game, guys. In case you didn't know, I really like the fucking game. Like, that's
the game, man.
That's just it's just showing love for the game. I meant to have that out like a few weeks ago, and I literally just kept dicking around.
I thought it was like a live video at first. I'm like, what the hell, Trell off?
No. It was just a premiere.
Yeah, I saw it was a premiere. Were you in the chat?
Yeah.
Because I was like super busy at work. I couldn't.
A little bit. I was at work when it premiered, so I hung in there for a little bit.
I did a premiere once like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I completely forgot about it. The whole thing played, and I wasn't in the chat. People were like, hello, Juice. They're like commenting, and I never replied. And I was like, damn, forgot all about that. But
sometimes you can't, you might be busy. You can't.
I tried that. Like, I thought, I had a couple theater related videos do pretty well. I was like, I'll do a premiere. It was like one person was like there while it was premiering. I was like, yeah, I ain't doing those anymore. Those are the gradual growths.
Premieres are weird, right? Because it's like, well, why didn't you just go live if you could, if you're gonna interact with chat and that kind of stuff? So it's weird to like put up a video and then like be in the chat to your pre-recorded video.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
like
You're not. Well, the thing is, you're not required to be in the chat. I mean,
No, you're not.
realistically,
It's for the the
I
the
think,
audience that's watching
honestly,
it usually.
well,
exactly.
the format that I think it's most successful that I've seen is movie reactions. And well, actually, the one I watch is Star Trek
Well, that's
reactions.
fine. Yeah.
I don't pay attention to the live chat because I'm trying to watch the reaction, but she does get a lot of she can engage with the fans and stuff like live, and I initially I was trying to like get a comment and stuff like, no, I'm not even watching the reaction. I might as well just like it's cool for like you don't have a chance to normally engage with somebody, like they don't do live streams or something. I think that's a good place for that, but also then they're not paying attention to the video. They're like,
Well, you also need a big base of subs that will actively be there.
Yeah.
For
Yeah, exactly.
But Retro said he'd be here. Sandstorm said he'd be here. Don't want to get into any meat of the meaty topics, but that was
You say that,
Robert
you
sure
say that, but we run into an issue every time where we talk about other things, and then we get like an hour and a half into the podcast. Oh, there's the main topic.
We're gonna have to start.
I was looking for you.
So retro gaming. No.
I do need some new. I saw a couple of Super Metroid videos just randomly popped up, and I watched them, and I'm like, that one's a little more expensive. Even just the cartridge, I believe, is 50 something. I believe for like a good condition cart of the original
Super Metroid.
Mm-hmm. I was like, why didn't I think of that game? Like what the hell? Why was that? I mean, I've never owned it before, and I've beaten it multiple times on Virtual Console and stuff, but it's like it would be cool to have that one. And
you never owned Super Metroid?
No, I only rented it for like 3-4 days. Got as far as I could get, and then I never played it again until the Virtual Console when I got it. That launched with. Did that come out with Metroid Prime 3? I think so. Or right before. I think it was like the week before they released Super Metroid on the Virtual Console before Metroid Prime 3 came out, or right around that time. And that was literally the first time I beat it. And then I think I played the Wii U Virtual Console. I might have played it a second time, but I was watching a video kind of breaking down, and like one guy was, I think his channel's just basically having his girlfriend play all his favorite games, and she kept saying, oh, that's like that enemy in Hollow Knight, that's like this from Hollow Knight, that's like this mechanic from this game. And he's like, actually, this is the game that started that all these other games still to this day. Hollow Knight still does the same creature that just goes around a platform, same similar shape, same basically movement. There's still,
don't forget Castlevania's contribution.
Yeah, none. Save stations or upgrades. Games today are still doing that. The original Metroid had that stuff, but it wasn't as fleshed out. It wasn't as polished. You didn't have. It really was a chore. I did use the save states on that game. I used a save state like it was a save room. I didn't. And then at the end, I just, that game's tough. If you die at the boss, you resume with with like 30 health on the one pellet or whatever you want to say of health, and you have to rebuild up your health every time just to fight the boss. So I use the save state, kind of cheat the boss, but otherwise I just use it as a save, basically like a save room. Other than that, Super Metroid introduced so many things that are still to this day like utilized. Like I played Axiom Verge 2 a couple years ago. Obviously Axiom Verge is heavily influenced by Super Metroid. And it's like just interesting to hear, like it's almost like when somebody who their basic movie knowledge is the MCU, and then they watch another movie and they're like, oh, it's so and so from Marvel. That's how they know the actor. And it's like like it's just unless that was the only movie they've been in. But some of the better bigger known actors, they know them through Marvel. So it was just interesting to hear.
That's Kate Blanchett. She plays Thor's sister. Never seen her in anything else.
First movie I seen her in was The Gift, and I had a crush on her, instantly. That's what can't. Not the
Okay.
not the. There's two movies called The Gift. One is with like Edgerton, whatever that guy's name is.
Joel Edgerton.
Yeah, and the first one was Sam Raimi film with Keanu Reeves, Katie Holmes, Kate Blanchett, and I forget the other guy. I can picture his face, but anyway, I'm not here to talk about movies.
I see in the back of T's Bakaru with the, but I see it's in. Is it in a sealed thing though?
It's sealed, my man.
Of course it's sealed.
I don't have to open this. I have it on Steam.
I was gonna say, okay, do you have
And then
it?
he plays it on his Steam Deck.
Yeah, I wanna. That looks like a cool game.
It is a throwback for sure. Feels like
I need to buy that.
between GameCube and N64 3D platforming.
That's the vibe I got from it, just looking at the video footage of it.
It's funny when I go on Steam and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pick up this game. It's cheaper on there. And I see, always see a lot of times it's Mizzy either owns this game or has it on his wish list. He's like, connected. We got a lot of games that we cross over, yo.
I'm a gamer, man. Look at that Z. I'm always
That's
in the
how,
crowd.
that's how the gamers play, man.
That's how we do.
I see.
Yeah.
I don't know what Matthew's talking about, but I don't know if he's joking or what. $90 for full Breath of the Wild on Switch. Yeah, if you don't own the game and you're like buying the game for the first time, and you want to play the
And you get
DLC,
the DLC and
technically
stuff.
it's 90, but it's the same. It's still it'd be 90 for me if I paid for the upgrade because I bought the DLC, bought the game for 60, and that $10 upgrade.
Yeah.
Like it's. Yeah, I wish they'd included the DLC with the Switch 2 edition. I mean, look what for all much shit. I'm gonna give Capcom later on for the game keycard release, but it's still Season 1 and 2 edition. That's gonna I bought the game for 40 Street Fighter 6. I think I didn't tally it up, but just the Season 2 DLC, 4 characters and the 2 levels is $50. Just for 4 characters, 2 levels, and what other costumes you get. Like that's ridiculous. And
That's a lot of money.
the fact that the Switch 2 version has all the characters. I mean, it's definitely a fair price. It's just, I'd pay $10 more if it's on the cart. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Just that game's been out for so long already, and a lot of
But,
people
yeah.
who own it already bought it on something else.
Nintendo.
You rebuy it. At
Yeah,
this
but come
price
on, T. Capcom's been re-releasing the same game for years.
for years.
This
They
is
used to get away with that shit for
this is
90.
a proven formula.
We didn't have no choice back then. You couldn't download a fucking patch. It's true for Street Fighter 2.
Now it's it's nostalgic. We want to give you a nostalgic experience with the game.
But yeah,
That's what
I have seen people. I mean, I know they're probably just rage baiting and stuff, but someone's like,
With what?
Oblivion full remake $50, Breath of the Wild remaster $70, and it's like, yeah, if you're rebuying the whole game, like it's $70.
That also, yeah, if you're rebuying the whole game, and also like it's not a remaster anyway either. the game's it's not Breath of the Wild remaster. I don't know why people.
I don't know.
keep
It
saying
says according to Clactus thing, it's 9.8 gigabytes for the Switch 2 edition. 9.8.
that doesn't make it a remaster. It
additional.
just-
Yeah, I don't think
Makes
they
it a
count as a
remaster.
remaster. I don't think they count as a remaster.
They literally call it. They don't
It's
call
an
it a remaster.
upmaster.
I mean, what's in that 9.8? Probably all new textures and.
I mean, I was
Yeah.
confused by that thing from Clock Did anyway, because Kirby is like originally 5 gig, and the upgrade adds 8 gig to it. Like, what the fuck? That's more than the original game.
Well, it's content and probably new textures and stuff, maybe.
Yeah, I
but-
mean,
I mean, that's a lot
content.
for a fucking Kirby game. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
That's true.
Tears of the
Every
Kingdom.
game's gonna have a lot
maybe
of textures going on.
That 9.8, maybe that counted the DLC in case somebody had the DLC. I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean,
Maybe.
it's just it's the thing people are talking about. Switch 2's popular topic right now. Like, buddy at work, I always tell you guys about. He listens to Linus Tech during the day, to pass the time, listen to the podcast. They're talking about what one of the home theater guys I told you about like last year. Why doesn't Apple just buy Nintendo? Like they have a whole discussion about it. Like I
Why do you
just
want Apple to buy
I said,
Nintendo?
dude, why would Nintendo need? They need nothing from Apple. They have billions, hundreds of billions, possibly in the bank, cash. They need nothing from Apple. Apple couldn't give them anything that they couldn't get themselves. They have Universal. They have movies through Universal. They do not need Apple. He's like, well, they could use. They have really good CPUs. They could partner, use the Apple CPU. I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, Apple
Cool.
needs Nintendo because they want to get into gaming, but Nintendo does not need Apple. Like,
Exactly.
get the hell out of here. It's weird that PC guys think that way, because another PC guy, home theater guy, said the same thing during his live stream, and I was like commenting back, like, dude, that's the dumbest thing I've ever
You would
heard.
think if you say, hey, Nintendo and Nvidia are partnered already, like they do their custom GPU and everything. You would think they'd be like, oh wow, okay, I didn't know that. Something. Like,
Apparently,
People think
Linus
it's kind
did
of
make.
weird. I mean,
Linus did
they
just say,
think-
well, Nintendo's got so much money, like he actually came through with
No,
like the
thank-
logic, but it's just like somebody
You think
asked.
that-
oh wait, that was
Thing.
on Linus they were saying.
Well,
about the
somebody
Apple?
one of their
Yeah.
somebody paid, what do you call it?
Oh,
to have their question
like-
read, and it was like,
Yeah.
what do you think of Apple buying Nintendo? So they had a discussion about it, but
It's a different
Oh.
variation on the fucking same conversation where people were like, the Nintendo should go third party for Xbox and stuff, man.
or
I mean,
who
we
anybody.
showed them first, we'll show them again.
I don't get it because it's like, bro, they're literally the most successful that they've ever been right now.
They're the
and
most
somehow-
profitable
They're the
gaming
biggest
company.
company
somehow
in
they should be
Japan.
bought,
They're
They-
the most profitable gaming company of the three.
So they have
what the
12
fuck
and
billion.
somehow
do
they
you
should
need?
be bought. Like, how
They-
does that make sense? How
they-
how are you at your peak and you want to? They should be bought.
And they have no debt.
You gotta understand that the PC guys are kind of weird. They've always been kind of weird because they're the same. They're the same guys that be like, "Oh man, exclusives are anti-consumer,"
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Yeah.
and nothing. You shouldn't have things exclusively to this or that. I'm like, really? Do you not know how those like marketing or the market works? That's how you have differences between companies.
Yeah.
That's
if
why
McDonald's
McDonald's
sold a
are-
fucking Whopper, nobody would go to Burger King ever. Like it does.
I mean,
it doesn't make any
it's the same thing
sense.
as it's the same thing as like with their own parts that they get. Why do you buy AMD over Nvidia or Nvidia over AMD? It's like, oh well, this and that. Well, how come they can't both do that same thing? They should both be able to
right
do
now,
this.
AMD's killing it on the CPU side, and Nvidia's just still destroying them on the GPU side. Like, but either way, there's guys that will spend $800 for a 15% performance boost. That's where we're at right now. You go from a 4090 to a 5090. It's a $2,000 card, and you're like, without frame generation and other bullshit, it's like a 20% improvement for an additional $2,000 plus, and it's like, it's just
Can we get back to these
ridiculous.
PC guys? They're weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like as a Steam Deck owner, I'm embarrassed by some of the arguments that these Steam, PC guys want to make when they compare. It's like, bro, like, stop
That
it.
makes sense.
I love fucking Steam Deck, but it's gonna be outsold within the first day.
Somebody was
I'm
like, whatever you think the number lands on, it seems to be between 3.5 to 5 million for Steam Deck.
I
It
think it's
doesn't
around
matter.
4. That's
It
that's
doesn't
that's
matter
what I'm
either
sticking
one.
with.
It's going to be outsold
Yeah,
in the
doesn't
first
matter.
week. But somebody was
but why
like,
are you even making that an argument? Like Steam Deck is not supposed to do like the Steam Deck is not, and you can't just walk in a store and buy a Steam Deck. You gotta go through the company. Like it's not like available in the same way. But
And even
then
if
the
it
arguments
was,
will be
it's a different audience. It's just
yeah, it's
made
still
for a
it's still
very
probably not
specific
going to sell as well as the
But
Switch.
Asus and-
Switch 2.
it's sitting at Best Buy. They've had a display for years. Like you can play it right there, demo, and that's done.
And those are
less-
very for specific audiences.
Same guy
Well,
at work. He's
still-
like, for the last year, what's Nintendo gonna do with the next Switch with the Steam Deck out there? I said, dude, the Steam Deck is such a small percent. He doesn't even like have a concept of like what a big number is for like a game or a system. So selling, he has no concept
Yeah.
of 20 million. I was talking about something sell 20. I don't know, what is that a lot? He's yeah, it's a freaking lot for a game. 20 million's a lot, but
Yeah.
I said, dude, the Steam Deck's at 3-4 million. The Switch is at 150, right? At this wasn't back then, but I said it's going to be at 150. The Switch 2, he's like, well, if the Switch 2 is the same power, then why would people buy this? They'll get less games on the Switch 2. They can just emulate, and it's just like, no, it's not how it works.
And it's so stupid. It's like where I don't know where people think they're gonna somehow be emulating Switch 2 games. Like that's so like.
Well,
Come
here's
on,
I
like,
saw a tweet about that, and I was like, "This
They're
guy's
gonna be in for a rude
obviously
awakening,
trolling." He's trolling. I don't think he was serious.
Well, here's my thing is, if you were too lazy to look up the prices for how much game consoles sell, you think you're gonna have the wherewithal to go buy a Steam Deck and then go through the process of installing emulators and
for sure.
downloading ROMs
Yeah, who's
and
doing
then
that?
running
The average-
those ROMs?
They're not doing
and
that
again, those emulators are not gonna be good for Switch 2 specifically.
These are the same
Right,
people
sure,
who
still.
play. These are the same people who be like,
They're not
man,
great
I
for
don't-"
Switch One.
no. Certain games are better than others, but a lot of them,
Right.
it just kind of
It
depends.
depends on the game though. Like people really put a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
Breath of Wild, like people have modded. They've written their own stuff. Like,
Well,
I
of
mean,
course.
it's crazy the things
but
you
what
can do,
kinda-
but not every
You're
game
not doing
gets
that on a
that.
fucking Steam Deck.
Yeah,
You're not
and-
doing that on a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
You're
and
not
also
dropping all
again,
these
that's a Wii U
mods.
game.
Did
You're
Pokemon
dropping all
game
these
name.
mods onto a Steam Deck.
does Pokemon
to make
Scarlet
it look as
Violet
good.
have all these mods and make it look amazing or way better? I don't know. Depends
They
on,
know they have
Maybe.
some. I know they have some
I don't know.
mods.
but like somebody on
Make
Twitter.
it look amazing. They can make it decent. It's already an achievement.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, "Oh, the Switch 2 will outsell the Steam Deck within 6 months." And I said, 6 months? Within 6 days,
6
it'll
months.
outsell it.
I think the
6 minutes, dude.
didn't the pre-orders.
I bet it's already
surpass that?
outsold it.
I'm pretty sure the
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
pre-order
the
sales have already
pre-orders
Pre-orders already
outsold.
outsold the fucking thing. Like, come on.
So
Like, look,
Yeah.
and
And
I
that's
love my
for those
Steam
who were
Deck.
able
That's
to-
why these arguments are just like ridiculous. And the PC guys will come back. Well, Steam is an open platform, and you don't have to pay for online. And da 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 da. I'm like, come on.
I'm like,
And
yeah,
that
well,
was
you
for
know
the
what? The
people
Steam
who
Deck
were
doesn't
able
have
to get
Nintendo
it.
franchises, man. I don't know what to tell you. Come on.
Right?
Like,
I mean,
when you
that's
got,
just.
Robert, when you got your pre-order, like you were like, oh, there's like 100 guys behind me and stuff. Like, did you kind of see the cutoff?
Oh, fossil.
I look at it. I saw it in Robert's eye. 100.
was it
100.
a human
But
centipede?
that was-
one of those
I thought that's
videos,
what
huh?
I think it was a human
No, it
centipede.
just sounds hilarious. It just sounds- There's 100 guys behind me. Like, what are they doing?
Human
Prepare
centipede.
yourself. Prepare yourself.
Robert's
Prepare
going for the
yourself,
record.
Robert.
Sandstorm's like, "Hey, come on, guys." So let's get into it since everybody's here.
Shit.
I think I'm the only one I know for
Oh,
sure
pre-order, yeah.
that didn't get a pre-order. Out of everybody I follow, talk to, gaming related, I'm the only one that didn't get one.
You didn't seem to care.
Really?
Is from what it sounded like.
I was
Yeah,
up
you didn't
to,
put enough
You tried
effort
for a
in.
little
Yeah.
bit and then you're
dude.
like,
I was up
You-
for 45 minutes trying to get that damn thing.
You got
You know what I'm
no. You got to
saying?
go at least an hour and a half. Like,
Yeah, you gotta go at least an
Yeah,
hour.
you went for like
I was,
an hour and a half.
look,
you
look,
probably
look.
got
I was in a group call with my other friends, and we were up until like 1:30 in the morning. Like, come on.
You got yours right
You
away.
just have to be
really push
patient.
it.
I got mine pretty quick, but I'm supportive. Okay, I'm
But
not gonna just
Walmart,
leave.
Walmart's
that?
was
How'd you
stuck.
do that?
Kept telling
I got
me.
mine through Target.
If it makes you feel any better, I sat behind the scenes that it was
You
Wednesday.
got yours
night.
to Target.
So I
God
was
bless you.
on. So I was on Nintendo Prime's podcast, the Nintendo Byte podcast, and after that ended, I was sitting with all of those guys, like waiting for the pre-orders to come up, and like we had all multiple screens going, and all I
Yep.
hear from all of them is like, "I got in, I got in, I got in," and I'm still waiting.
Really?
And I'm like,
I
I
think
can't.
we-
And they're like, "I got in, I got one, I got one."
Really?
Are we about to tell our pre-order stories?
I think Michigan
Might as
is
well.
like. I think
Well,
we're
we
too
should,
far
we
away
should,
from
dude.
like a major like network or major like hub for internet access or whatever. Because I've never had luck trying to get anything like that online.
Well, I mean, I could quick. Mine was kind of quick. So I think of my group, it was like 4 of us that were trying to get pre-orders. And so I had Target on one screen, Walmart on other, and Best Buy. I want to put this out right now. Best Buy is ass. Fuck
Right.
Best
The
Buy.
worst. Best
Right.
Buy
Well,
was
they didn't
the
even
worst.
go
They
live
didn't
till.
go
They didn't even start at 12 like they were
They
fucking
waited.
supposed to.
They started
They
early.
They fell
They,
asleep.
they started like at 12:30 or some shit or
Mhm.
No,
12:40.
no, no,
Later.
no.
No way.
They fell asleep. They started at 12:37. I saw it. It wasn't even a whole number.
12:37.
This is a lot of this is a trauma response.
And apparently,
I'm
the
sorry.
people who waited in line, like I left it open. People said they left it open for 2 hours, and T, you said you were refreshing and like keep clicking it, and
I was refreshing that bit every 10
Now,
seconds.
I was
wanna
just.
give-
And I had 3 of them open. I just like
Yeah,
I
you got to. You
had
gotta
Best
have
Buy,
3 of them.
Yeah, I
I
didn't
had
think
Target,
about
and I
that.
had
Oh,
Actually, I had 4. If you count, I had Walmart on my computer and on my phone.
Walmart was a
on the
sleeper. People needed people
That's
slept on
what I got
Walmart.
mine. Walmart
Yeah,
did the
see?
best job. And
Yeah,
I was like, holy
yeah.
crap, that was a surprise.
Walmart
They
said
made
I
you-
was
they-
waiting for
they made you-
45
Oh,
minutes. Said I was
that's
in
case
line.
for
They made you know. Here's the thing: they made you wait, but in the waves, it started letting people in.
yeah.
And I know some
Things were
people
happening with Walmart. Like
Yeah.
periodically, I was getting further and further along.
Really?
I think
Where I was,
yeah.
I don't know where I stood on the other sites. I don't
So
know what the fuck.
So I got my controller from Walmart because I couldn't get it from Target because I was too slow. I was like, fuck. Like I was so happy about the console. I'm like, man, let me go ahead and get this pro controller. Couldn't get.
You
back
had
in
yours in
Target,
like
so I-
15 minutes. Like,
I got the console in 15
Yeah.
minutes. Because
That was
Target.
fast, man.
Target was slammed though. Target was slammed. We're sitting. I think it was like 2 of us got into Target, refreshing on the payment
Target was
page,
ridiculous.
refreshing. Just let the payment go through. I got it like I think that 15 miles. Like, let's go. My friend got it, and then it canceled the order. Then gave him a confirmation like 5 minutes later. So Target was on some janky.
I got in
editing.
right away. I got in my
Weird.
cart, had my payment, and then I couldn't go to the checkout.
No, I got
Yeah,
so
man,
many
you
errors.
gotta-
You
you
don't got
gotta
enough
eat.
money. Get your broke ass out of here.
Walmart,
I got all kinds of-
Walmart just kept saying I was waiting in line. I couldn't refresh it. Just kept I'm waiting in line 45 minutes.
I know.
I never progressed past
I
the.
know at least 3 or 4 people from my squad that got it from Walmart because Walmart
was the
was
easiest.
Walmart was a sleeper hit. That's what I like to describe
Yeah.
it. And then Best Buy was just on some bullshit. Best Buy even when it went live for other people, it would just say coming soon for my page. So if I had relied on Best Buy, I damn sure wouldn't have got it.
So Best Buy, I think Best Buy was the like periodically like you're in line, little
Yeah.
thing on the screen, and then Target was just like hold this button to prove you're a human being and shit.
Yeah.
And you do that, and nothing happened.
Mhm.
And nothing happened.
I said that
And you
I'm like,
just-
what the fuck?
I had it send
What
a
is
code to
this?
my phone. I got it like 3 hours later. I
you
never
know,
got.
you wanna know how smooth Walmart was? I have friends who got 2 of them. Like they bought one for themselves and then one for like their siblings
Yeah.
or whatever. So it's
And they didn't get canceled on that? Was it different emails or something?
no. They got 2. They did have the double
They
back.
got 2?
They got back
Yeah,
in
me
line.
too.
I could have got a second one if I really wanted
Yeah.
one.
Really?
I don't need.
Could you have gotten a third?
No, just cut that shit out. And then and then GameStop was okay from what I heard. I've heard
GameStop-
mostly positive things from
GameStop
GameStop.
just didn't
Yeah,
fucking
I was
start.
good.
I went to
good on it.
GameStop. There was nothing going on. I was like, what the?
The
So
only thing,
I
the
love
only thing that
GameStop.
sucked is that people wanted the bundle, and I think I think they had more of the standalone than the bundle. So I know some people who were just like, "Fuck, man."
I thought
Well-
I thought that was the opposite, where they're
Really?
gonna have more.
Oh, go
It was
ahead,
the
Robert. You
opposite
win.
for- Yeah, it was the opposite for a majority of the stores. I don't know about online, but most
Yeah,
of the
online probably was
stores
different.
Okay, that's fair.
had the bundle more and a lower number of non-bundle, which is
Right,
why
right,
I
right.
wanted to go earlier because I didn't want the bundle. So I was like, I know there's a smaller thing, so I'm like, I want the separate. And so
So you're gonna
know-
get Mario Kart at $80? That's what you're telling me?
yeah,
He wants the
Is that what you're
box.
saying to us?
He wants the
Well,
box.
I'll say this that I woke up at like 11:50 something, and I was like, I wasn't even gonna really bother. I was like, I'm just gonna go to the store because whatever. But then it was midnight. I'm like, let me at least see like what's the craziness that's going on, and there was definitely craziness, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not dealing with this. I'm just going straight to the store because I want to go to the midnight launch. That's my big thing. I want to go.
Yeah.
It's near me. My
I wanna do
GameStop
that
near
too.
me.
You know what made me
Yeah,
mad is I saw you online, and then I saw it. I felt like you had the ability to get it, and said, "Nah," and just.
that's
it
probably
fucked
what
me up.
happened too.
It fucked me up because I had a friend in there who was I think he was he didn't get his online. My other friend bought his also, so he's gonna pay him back to get the console. But I was
Okay.
like, you see people out here struggling. Robert with a golden ticket.
Yeah,
Nah.
I'm good.
Man.
You could have
Well,
bought it
so
for
yes,
juice,
that's
man.
I ended up and then I couldn't fall asleep that whole night, man. It was driving me insane. I
Oh,
was tossing and turning. I couldn't. My eyes were wide open. I ended up just like an hour later. I ended up just playing games for like another 2 hours. I finished this game. It was a really good RPG time. Legend of Right, check it out. But then I went back to sleep. I went back to sleep, or at least I thought. I didn't really. I don't think so. I kept eyes wide open. I'm like, damn. And so it was like 5, almost 6 something, and I'm like, fuck it, let's just get up and go to GameStop, which opens at 11 a.m. So obviously, it's pretty early, but I was like, well, you know what? It is what it is. I've done over 24 hours before. Like 4 or 5 hours is nothing to me. So I ended up just going to the GameStop near me, and there was a bit of a line at like 7 something, and I looked at the store. At the door shows what it is, and there was like 20 something non-bundles, and then every other thing was bundles, which was, I forget the exact number, but I think it was like 40 to 60 something. It was in between that range for that. So there was a lot for every single store, which is just goes to show how much they're stocking of this damn console. It's awesome. And I was 16th in line. I had my headphones in, just listening to music, and time went by, and I got my pre-order nice and easy, nice and simple, and that was it. And that is the best way to me. Just you go to the store and you wait,
Yeah.
and you come back on June 4th at midnight.
I should have just
I
texted
would
my
like to
boss
do it.
and said I'll be in at noon and tried to go stand in line.
I wanted to
Well,
do
but
that,
then
but I
by
was
the
in
end, yes,
Florida.
by the end though, when I turn around, yes, there were 100 men right behind me, ready to scavenge. And yes, it was a very long line, and I don't understand why, because to me, like,
How long
those
was it,
people at
Robert?
the end were not getting any. Like at that point, it was way too long of a line that I'm like, yeah, these dudes are not gonna get a Switch. I don't understand why they're even bothering. But yeah, it was great, and always you always have people talk, and I didn't really talk to anybody, but it was just you overhear conversations, and they were always pretty funny. Like, some people like, and the one dude's like, I heard one dude, and I admitted I agree with him, and that's why he said, like, Mario Kart is like, do I think Mario Kart's worth $80? He's like, yes. Do I think they should have sold it at $80? No. And I'm like, you know what? I agree with that guy. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know it's gonna be worth $80 in my heart. Well, do I think they should have sold for $80? No.
Do I think it was the most
that's-
expensive game they ever made? No. So it shouldn't be the highest price game they ever sold. Serious.
I don't know, man.
What the
Development's been years. I would argue it probably is like right up there with Tears, probably. I'm sure it is.
But if you're smart, you price the biggest
What?
selling game the highest.
What happened?
I said if you're
sorry.
smart, you're pricing the most selling game
But they're
the
not.
highest.
They're basing it off the amount of work and
Yeah, but
content.
again, that doesn't make sense either,
No,
Retro.
no,
Because
no, they're
we
not.
talked
They're
about this
basing it-
last week, that they're somehow selling it also for $50 at the same time.
Right.
So-
They're basing this on the fact that they know you motherfuckers gonna buy Mario Kart and they can get maximum money out of that shit. That's what this is about. That's all this is about. Nintendo, they don't give a shit how big the damn game is. They've never done that. Even
Yeah.
going back to the Super Nintendo, when games were literally bigger, like there was more ROM carts or more ROM on the cart, Nintendo never charged more. The third parties did, but Nintendo never charged more for their quote unquote bigger games. That's just something they've never done.
Unless they
But
they'll
now-
get the RAM expansion for the N64. That's the only
Oh,
game
yeah,
that
you have to
costs
get that
more.
right. But I meant, like, let's say like Donkey Kong Country, like that game literally costs more for them to produce, because of the Mario chip and all that shit that was in it, like so.
But it was what, $39.99?
It was probably regular price for whatever the games were that at that time, $39, $49. I'm gonna say $49.99. I think it was probably $50 back then. But yeah, like they never charged more, so it's not about them, trying to get more money, or get more money because they spent more.
Yeah.
It's about it's
not calculating
it's
the
as cynical as it
percentage.
looks. It's about
Yeah.
Business. So
Absolutely.
It's the game they
And
think they
look,
can
I
get away
truly-
with
I
it.
truly know.
yeah, the game they can get away with.
But then also at the same time, it's funny because then the people that are having discussions, they also, if unfortunately, especially as gamers, we know that there's a lot of awkward people in gaming. There's a lot of awkward people, and just the way people talk, you're just
No, I
like,
think that.
like you just got to separate yourself from
Yes.
from the typical gamer sort of thing. Just because the way they talk, it just I don't know.
Like when people
I
start
always find it
talking
funny.
about what's it called, Dungeons and Dragons, I'm like, That's not. I'm moving away. That I don't want to be lumped into that group. Like, that to me is just take. I'm not an actor, so I can see why people like it. But for me, when people get real serious about Dungeons and Dragons, I'm just like like scooting away. Like I don't want to be part of that discussion. I feel a little weird, but
That'd be disrespectful.
Because you know the guy with the one dude, he's like super loud. He's talk about like everything, but you're just like a little awkward, man.
Yeah.
Just talk more normal.
indoor voices, even though
Like,
you're probably outdoor. But
So I just put on my headphones and I'm like, let's listen to music.
anyway, I don't know. Sandstorm. Why don't you tell your whole story? Because I don't know if you got one. Don't spoil it. I don't know if you got
He
one.
did. He absolutely did. But he was seething that night. I remember it. Saw him on Twitter.
Oh, you're muted. Still muted.
It was muted this whole time.
No, he
Oh,
wasn't.
no, he wasn't. No, 'cause
It's
he
not-
spoke
there's-
to-
Speak again.
It
Breathe out
doesn't
your
have the
nose.
symbol.
The fuck?
Maybe he's just not talking loud enough.
His mic's down.
You
Down.
think it's a tiny mic?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
There
Yeah.
you go.
What was
Okay,
it?
okay. It slipped. Pause. It slipped out. Pause.
He's calling you gay anyway. Don't even hear it.
So
When you were in behind the line with Robert.
so it was crazy.
Damn.
Thunderstash and Prime, like each of those different platforms, they were like getting their pre-orders for. And I'm like, man, and they're like, everybody's hyping each other up. No, I know you can do it. I know you can do it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm there. I'm there. And so Target came up, and I finally got in for Target. So I'm like, oh, I'm in for Target. And Prime's like, whoa, wait a minute. When does it say delivery date? And I'm like, oh, 6 through the 12th. And I'm like, do you really want to do that? And I'm like, nah, I really don't want to do that. I
They're
don't wanna
charging
wait
10
behind
extra
everybody else.
for get it on launch day and pay 10 additional shipping shipping
No.
cost.
Nope, not happening. So I tried Walmart. Walmart was giving me the robot thing and kept kicking me out. So my only chance was like Best Buy at that point. Like I said, 12:37. I'm looking on the dot. 12:37. It finally shows up, and like I have 3 screens allocated for Best Buy, and like boom, I'm in the line, right? Like I'm in the line on one. I'm in the line on the other one. I load up a 4th screen. Boom, I'm in the line. So I'm like, I got
I didn't
4
think to
spots.
do
I'm
that.
good. So, but what I notice is out of the 4 screens I have, only one of them actually has the address to like my closest Best Buy. The other 3 don't. So I'm like, oh man, I know I'm going to be in the back of the line. Everybody else is going to move before me because they have it to a specific spot. So Prime's like, no, you're good. You're still in the line. You're okay. He leaves out. Everybody leaves out. I'm like, okay, I got 4 of them. Let me see if I can get on my phone too. Boom, get on my phone. I'm like, okay, cool. It's about 1:35, almost 2 o'clock at this point. I'm getting tired. I'm like, you know what? Let me just put my Best Buy screens on my TV, which is on the other side of this screen. I'll put 2 over there. I'll have 2 over here. I'll have 1 on my phone, and I'm good. Like all I'll have to do is just wait for one of them to move over. And I get to thinking about tomorrow. I have no clue what I was thinking about, but I was deep in thought. And the next thing I think of is like, bro, your eyes are closed. And so like I wake up, I look at my phone, it says sold out, and I'm like, no. I look at the TV, and like one of them literally went from proceed to checkout to sold out, and I'm like, no, flipping everything. And so like my whole time I'm like full anxiety. I'm like, I stayed up until 2 o'clock, got into proceed, and missed out on my chance because I fell asleep. So that night I'm like, bro, your only chance is to go to GameStop. Like you've got no other chances, just GameStop. If you fail on this, you have failed in life. Like, everything is over after this point. So our GameStop opens at 12. I know some people's opens at 11 o'clock, but we have 2 of them. So there's one that's like by the college, and then there's one that's like kind of closer to me. But most people go to the one closer to me because it's the bigger GameStop out of the 2. And I'm thinking, probably shouldn't go to the college because most people were thinking, well, if that's the smaller one, people are gonna go to the other one. Might as well go to this one. You got college students waiting now. It is no chance. So my cousin had called GameStop the day before, and he's like, yeah, or no, he was in there because he was trying to sell his Switch early. And they were like, yeah, we've had like 150, 200 people call in to ask about like how soon they should come in for pre-orders. So I'm like, gotta get in there early. gotta go early. I get up at 6. I'm like, please, let me just be in a good spot. And there was only 2 other cars there. So I'm like, oh, thank God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. But everybody, but you know how like it's weird. I feel like it's only this way for like gaming. I don't think it's this way for any other pre-orders. But like when people sit in cars, you sit there and do like a Mexican standoff. Like nobody wants to go out and get in line. They all just kind of like wait for that first person to make a move, you know. and so this one guy, he was like kind of slick with it. He gets out his car, he like grabs all of his stuff. He goes to the door, and we're all like, all right. He's making a move. And he goes to throw his trash away and walks back to the car.
What time was this?
It was like, by that time, it had to be like 6:30.
Yeah, but if there's only 3, if you just look at the on
How
the
many did they
doors,
say
just
how
see
many they were gonna have?
How many consoles there'll be?
Yeah, so the number wasn't on the door until our store manager showed up. But the thing is like people came pretty fast after that point. So like I stood second in line, so that spoiler alert, yeah, I did get mine. But people like started coming really fast. Pause. It was like I think from our area, we're at the end of this plaza, and so like the line started there, and on the other side is Target, and that's where people like ended off at. And I'm like, there's no way that these people are going to get it. That had to have been like 200 to 300 people in the line. And when he posted it, it posted for 35 regular Switch 2s, not the bundle, and 55 bundled Switch 2s. And I think it was the same way at our other GameStop too. So he's like, yeah, if you're in line, he's like, we don't, allocate according to like GameStop overall. We like allocate for each actual individual.
I wish I would have just took a half day and went.
He had no resolve, y'all. He had no resolve.
Yeah.
I'd be
I
way
wanted to
too
do that on
scared to
top.
sit there and wait in my car because I'd be like, oh, there's nobody in line. I'm fine. And you're on your phone, you look up, bam, 50 people.
The minute you get out that car.
I got in
too, because like most of the people who came, who got there, they were all like, thank you. They were all like,
damn.
They were so casual, it was weird. Like they didn't want to be the like one person to stand in line. They're like walking up, they're like, oh, what are you guys here for? Like like
Same thing as you, motherfucker.
Right.
So we're not gonna do this. I said, who you talking to, man?
We're here for the Switch 2. They're like, oh, well, I guess I can stay in line for that. You were here for that.
That's funny. I bet. I mean, Sandstorm don't know what I'm talking about, but Grand Haven is kind of it's a smaller town, but they have Walmart, GameStops. They don't have their own Best Buy, but like the DMV, there's never anybody there. So I was like, man, if I was gonna go to GameStop, I'd go to that one. And
that would have been a good one to go to.
My boss wouldn't have cared. I got the time. I should have just did it, but I was just like,
he had a weak ass resolve.
I felt weird asking for time to go pre-order.
What do you mean?
But
would that have been the first time you ever asked all for a game console? Because that wouldn't be mine.
I mean, come in. He doesn't like doing same day, time off, but probably would have.
I've come to work late to get Amiibos.
I could have said, I got to take care of something. I'll be in at noon. He probably wouldn't have questioned it, but I did.
You guys stand in line for these next Amiibos, Terrell?
No, don't do that. Don't do
I had I was on Best Buy. I was
You
in
still
the,
went to GameStop just for the amiibo and not for the
That's
Zelda.
Yeah.
that's a crazy line. Like, dude, I gotta get that Jamie amiibo. Hold on. real
yeah, right.
quick. Yeah.
Everyone's getting a Switch too, and you're like, oh yeah, baby, that amiibo.
Is that
How much does it
Elena
cost?
character? A new?
$40.
What game
You
was
know
that?
what?
What game was that? Is Elena from? Because I never
She's
heard
in
of her.
4. She's in 4.
Okay.
Actually, I think she's in older games.
So
than
they
that,
did
actually.
the amiibo for like
Elena goes back to the fucking
must be
do you
like
call it,
Alpha or 3.
Alpha.
I
Yeah,
think
it
it's.
goes back to
I want to
Alpha.
say the 3.
I never played a Street Fighter after Super Street Fighter 2 until I played
4. or
Alpha
5?
2 the other 2 weekends ago via Street Fighter 6's like little arcade cabinets. And I was like, man, this is pretty sweet. It's got like that more cartoony style.
They have the old games in there.
Not all of them, and I think it changes because I remember they had different games before, so I think they just randomly change it. So it has like 3 or 4 games out. Some are like Final Fight arcade, but
Man, just put that shit in there. You ain't making no money off that shit no more.
yeah, I think they're just trying to rotate them so you have maybe people boot it up consistently to see which games are in there. But either way, that was just a random thought. I got in Best Buy line. I thought before 37. I think it was more like 12:32. And I was pulling a Sandstorm. I was like having trouble keeping my eyes open, and it was 12:45. I was only in line for 15 minutes. In line.
Mhm.
My Walmart one, 45 minutes it sat there, never did anything, and I heard people seeing people were saying that it's just they waited, and the next day I saw people said they waited 2 hours and it never went any further.
Mhm.
That was
But
Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday night.
problem
Friday
is-
morning.
the problem is I laid
th-
down.
No, wait. Wednesday night,
Wednesday
Thursday
night,
morning.
Thursday
Yeah.
Well, you had to go to work though, right, Juice? That's
Yeah, and I laid down at like 7. I was like, all right,
I was on vacation.
I'll try
so
to sleep. Maybe dozed off for like 20 minutes,
Mhm.
but just was laying there. Got up at 9, feed my cats. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go to bed. Set my alarm for 11. I don't know why I set it for 11. It should have been like 11:40. I think I fell asleep around 10:30 maybe, and then 11 my alarm goes off, and I was just like not enough sleep to feel refreshed. I was just like completely dead. I got up. I was like, why did I get up at 11? There's nothing. I got to wait an hour now. So I did dishes, and I just felt tired. I was exhausted. Like I said, 15 minutes. I was like 12:45. I'm like dozing off. I'm like, I can't stay up any longer. Like I went through this so many times with the PS5 that it was just always ended in disappointment. I was like, I'm just gonna go to bed. I'm freaking exhausted. I got to work in the morning.
Listen, I had work the next day, and I came in that bitch at 5 o'clock, exhausted. People were like, "Bro, what you running off of?"
Yeah, I was
said,
still
"About
exhausted, but
3 hours."
so and then I'm like,
"Did you get the pre-order though?" Yes.
I'm checking.
I did.
I'm checking
Good,
online. I'm
God,
seeing who got. I'm like, everybody got one. Are you kidding me? Other than
So what
retro,
are you
but-
gonna do now? Like, let's say you got the Nintendo one.
I'm just
So
gonna
he's
go
gonna walk-
to the
Walk
Myers.
to the front door.
Myers is like a
Yeah.
Walmart West or like a Midwest version of Walmart. They didn't do pre-orders. They'll just have it there at launch. I don't know how many they'll have, and they got a couple.
At midnight? No, it's like it's usually just
Probably
like-
be when they open at like 6 or
So
7.
what you're saying is you're gonna leave luck to heaven.
So I'm going to get there at like 2 in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning, see if there's any lines, if they post. Because the Xbox Series X, they had 6 of those and like 20 of the S's, and I was the 7th person in line.
Jesus, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. What a different.
one
Well,
gave
to be
a
fair, though,
fuck.
I guess that's typically with most consoles.
And that's just one-
Nintendo really stockpiles.
This isn't a store that does a lot of game sales, so it's pretty. I think that's more to do with it than anything. But I'm just gonna
Oh,
try
wow.
that. If I get it, I
I'd
get
be
it.
nervous.
Cray was like, "Oh, I know somebody who's got an extra pre-order. It's not the bundle. It's not the Mario Kart bundle." I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to pay to have it shipped to my house. Pay this guy to ship this. Probably be $30-$40 from California. And then I got to buy the game for $80.
30,
Like that.
40, I think a little bit more.
Nah,
A
Switch.
whole Switch too?
It won't be. That's about
A
right.
Series X
Yeah.
to T's house was like 48, but that weighs
Oh, damn.
freaking 20 something pounds. Like that's 25.
Yeah,
that's
that bitch is
huge.
heavy.
Big box too.
It's a big bitch.
So I was like, I'm not paying extra money. I mean, I appreciate it. I told him, that's cool. Thanks for the offer, but I'm not gonna pay extra money. I was like, I don't imagine like it's gonna be months and months before there's just gonna be another wave of them hitting the stores. I would be.
And else, you might as well wait and buy Mario Kart physical anyway.
I ain't paying $80.
Well, if you no, I mean, if you would have added the money for the shipping,
Yeah,
you
at
might
that
as well have
point.
done that.
But yeah, that'd be adding the shipping and adding the game. So honestly, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not even that upset about it, to be truthful.
I know that's what you're saying. You don't
I don't-
feel you don't feel
Maybe
like,
I will
Nintendo
closer
games
to
anyway.
launch.
I knew it. I know
Well,
what's up, man.
Yeah, I kind of get that where he doesn't, because there's not like, oh my god. I mean, it's Mario Kart. Yeah, it's pretty different, but it's not like, oh man, that I have to have that.
Mario
game.
Kart to me
You
is
know?
obviously one that came out on Wii U. I mean, it was awesome. I had already played all the other games, and I've spent a lot of time. But to me, as much as I like Mario Kart, I don't think it's the only game you can have. Like, if that's the only game I have, I mean, obviously you can play Breath of the Wild and
for me,
stuff.
it totally is. I mean, it's literally like my most played. Oh well, I guess like third most played Wii U game. So I expect this game to be one of the most played Switch 2
I need
games.
something to go back to. And the other thing, too, which I just literally thought of it this morning. I don't know if you guys remember, because I had sold Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but even before I sold it, when I started playing Rocket League, like, Mario Kart, to me, like, dropped significantly down my list of, like favorite games.
Yeah, I remember hearing that in the podcast, and I
This-
still don't understand it because they're not
Going
even
from,
the
like,
same like genre.
Yeah, I
such
don't
a
get that either.
skill-based
It's a different game.
competitive game to this just random bullshit item stuff, man. It was it was hard for me to go back to Mario Kart.
Well, one is a sports game, one's a racing
I know,
game.
but you talk
It's
about
not even the same.
a skill-based game versus just luck-based item. Like, it's fun, but it's not the same.
You're just saying that because it involves vehicles. It's not even the same thing, though. Is what I'm saying. It's not the same.
And it's not
like,
the same type of game, but I'm saying a competitive, like the competitive feeling of winning in Rocket League based on skill and teamwork and stuff, and then going to this competitive racing game where it's just so much random stuff. Like, it permanently affected my view of the game. It just
That's
did.
one
Which
thing
I
that
don't
I
get how,
like
because
about,
it's just like you could say that about any game that you ever play that's competitive. Smash, Arms, Fortnite,
I
don't
really
put-
anything. But because it was a vehicle-based game, you're like, oh, wait a minute,
But if
Yeah.
I'm in a
Smash
vehicle.
is-
like if
it's
I go
not
from
random.
Smash 1v1s to Smash with items, I'm like, this is this is no skill involved. Like, I don't like
Yeah.
like that.
I
That
think
would be a
there's more-
Smash is a
That's the
highly
game, you're
skilled
still playing
fighter.
Smash.
There's more skill involved when you use items. 'Cause You
No.
gotta take so much more into
No,
account.
no, I don't.
I-
Well, that's
I
another.
dis-
we
I
ain't gonna
disagree.
do-
No,
we ain't
yeah.
gonna do- we ain't gonna do-
a skilled
But either way,
player.
this
can-
Mario Kart is gonna be way more fucking skill based with the wall riding, wall
is, though.
jumping,
I
all
think
that
so,
shit.
yeah,
It's gonna be
but-
nuts.
I'm just saying. I was just
Totally is.
saying, like, that's where my
You
head
still gonna
was.
get trolled.
But
You're about to win.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at your ass with a
As
blue
you
shell.
I
should.
can live
Yeah.
with I can live with waiting to play Mario Kart. I couldn't live with waiting to play, Breath of the Wild or Mario 64.
Well,
Like,
yeah, what would be?
hundreds of
I
hours
guess
in that game. It's still gonna be there in 2 months.
I'm gonna put a ton of
Well,
time in the game, but just to have that be really the only game to go, like, other
You
than
know, this guy don't care about Donkey Kong at all. So,
well, we got,
Yeah,
that'd be a
yeah.
month.
so there's
Um,
nothing in the immediate future of the Switch that
Hey,
he cares
like,
about.
that might be completely wrong on that game. Like,
Well, I
just-
mean, even then, I mean, like, what's like, is the first game for you personally that you're like, oh yeah? Well, even then, it would be like, would it be maybe Age of Imprisonment? Like,
if
Hyrule
you're talking
Warriors?
Switch 2 only,
Oh yeah, because Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime 4, but we don't know when that's coming out.
Mhm.
Honestly, if
come
you
out
take
before
Metroid
it.
Prime 4 out, like, have a completely different take on this launch lineup. like that's a huge piece for me. Even though it's a Switch 1 game, like, I'll be playing on the Switch 2. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's there though, so we can't make a scenario where it's not.
no, I'm saying, but technically, it's a Switch 1 game. I could play it without getting a Switch 2.
and it still runs at 60 FPS.
And Pokemon Legends, whatever, does doing nothing for me. So honestly, the 3 games that I for sure am getting, it's Age of Imprisonment, Metroid Prime 4, and Mario Kart. And I don't think there's some secret game they're
What?
keeping.
No,
If there's not, man,
for-
that's gonna be very disappointing.
no support for Cyberpunk.
If I buy it, I'm not gonna open it because I have it on
Yeah,
PS5.
I mean, yeah, that's another thing. Like that would be great, but the guy already rinsed that game on PS5.
I
So-
might get the deal. Like I do want to support them, but at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna start the game. Maybe if you can just do the Liberty DLC.
There is
whatever it's called.
crossplay, yes.
I would assume you could just do.
I know
Phantom
you
Liberty.
can do
I
on-
actually don't know.
Either way, I mean, I like the game. It's not like it's super high on my list of games, but I just want to support it just because I got to support a developer doing the right thing. But either way, like I'm not worried if I don't get
now
the Switch
instead of at
2
launch.
for a couple weeks, or if I get it at launch day, or if I get a pre-order through Nintendo's thing.
But what if it's? But
What
what
are we
if
gonna
you
talk
say a few
about?
weeks? You say a few weeks, but what if it's gonna be even longer, man? What if it's like gonna be a PS5 situation where it's like
I don't think
6
it will,
months
but
after or something? I don't know how long. What was it like?
And then
4
the
months
tariffs
after?
eat into the game or system, and then what?
Yeah,
that
because
gets better price.
You gotta pay $600 for it.
from what I heard from the store managers, that the reason why the prices never fluctuated for the Switch itself is because all those Switches were already here
Already here, yeah.
Mhm.
before tariffs, and that is the reason why all the accessories got an increase because they're not here.
But they got,
Right.
they can be, I mean, I don't know how, if they're flying them in or getting them in on a boat, like they're still going to,
Transportation costs a lot of money,
millions
man.
and millions more coming in. And then however many days are left on the,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
Pause.
realistically, I mean, if I can't see them bumping up the price stuff. But again, I mean, like to be fair, that with the tariffs in a never-ending
Can't
story,
eat
and
them up in
that
the price.
could.
They don't have a choice. They're not gonna eat that
They
cost.
could, yeah, they, but yeah, I mean, if it is gonna be like some crazy percentage, then yeah, they are gonna have
I
to.
bet the margins are pretty thin on Switch 2 as it is, as far as how much they're
Yeah.
making.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, probably.
I don't think that price is gonna go up if they have to.
so I'll
deal with
I'll wait
tariffs.
till Retro gets a Switch 2 in Mario Kart. That's when I'll get one.
I think you're gonna wait a little bit less
You
than
know?
that.
I wish I didn't cancel our bet, that I won, and then I wouldn't have had to buy Mario Kart. You would have had to buy it for $80. I
damn.
let him off the hook because he moved to the U.S. and had all these expenses. God damn it!
Well, Retro, when
No,
when
no.
do you think you'll attempt to get one? Because again, to be fair, what if it might be shortages? We don't know, but what do
don't
you
wanna
think you'll
know.
attempt?
You don't want to know. It's gonna be like months, man. Like the cost.
Well,
for
I
me-
asked a question. I
the
do want
cost
to
for
know.
me- The cost for me, like, is
He wants you
still
to tell
piling
him
up.
immediately.
The cost for me is still piling up. Like like
I
I
get-
don't want to say it, but it could be like half a year. to a
Holiday?
year, I'm not gonna lie.
You think it's gonna be what?
It's gonna depend on when I'm.
You have to do a
able to
GoFundMe or
work
something.
and all that kind of stuff.
What?
Nah,
No, what?
Like I said, it's gonna, I'm
What?
not,
Like
I'm not
GoFundMe's for?
worried about
That
it,
shit
you know?
I
Almost crashed out. What do you mean?
I know it's gonna be there, and I know that I'll get it and stuff. Like, way too many people have been way too generous with me in the past. I'm gonna ask nobody for fucking shit. It'll get there when it'll get there. Even considered like selling some shit even once my stuff is here, because my stuff has been delayed even longer because the boat is taking some fucking detour. I don't fucking know. So nah, man.
He's taking it.
Tried to go
cruise
around Africa.
Yeah, no, I had to go around Africa because of Nigerian pirates.
Right.
Now, there's been some strikes. I don't know if it was in Europe or in America. Oh no, sorry. I think it's gonna land in Canada. I think there've been
Oh,
strikes somewhere
explains
that
why.
had the boat have to take like some detour, and it's already a fucking boat. So nah, I'm not worried. But yeah, it's
But
gonna be a while.
But at least Columbus Day is coming back.
Wait,
In the
what?
Bizarro world. Oh,
To be fair
man.
though, Retro, if you're gonna get it, like let's say it's holiday or something, the Mario Kart, or you don't want the Mario Kart bundle, I guess, right? But like technically the bundle will come back. Or
Look, in the situation I'm at, if at that point that's what I can afford, that's what I'll get. I'm not gonna be stingy about it. Out of principle,
Okay.
I can always buy Mario Kart in the future, somewhere. Like I don't need it brand new.
at the flea
There'll
market.
be used copies by
You
then.
always like
You'll be able to
the-
pick it up for $40-$50 by holiday.
Mhm.
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
not,
What?
but Like
Wait, it's on Mario
used
Kart?
copy.
You're crazy.
So this
No
is how I
way.
get over. I'm like, I'm buying. I'm buying the bundle. I got my pre-order in. Thank you, Walmart. You saved the day. And because I wanted to go to a store, but I couldn't because I was
While
in
you're on
Florida
vacation, every time
on
they do a
vacation.
pre-order
That's
for a
right.
Switch.
That's right.
Yeah, what the fuck? And so
Yeah, it's
I could have
true.
went and pre-ordered that bit, but I wouldn't go back all the way back down there to fucking get it. So that would have been crazy. But what I was talking about?
You pre-order.
Well, you know what that means to you. You have
Walmart?
to tell us in
Oh,
8 years
yeah.
when you're going
Oh,
on vacation, so you could predict the launch of the Switch 3 and leak it, and put it in a video. You know?
Yeah, that's what you do with that kind of technology. Great usage. Video game stuff. Yeah, but yeah, Walmart came through. It was great. And I don't know. I understand where Juice is coming from. He's talking about not worrying about it, but I got that FOMO too, man. I was like, I had all the apps open. I had the. There's no way, because that's what happened with Steam Deck. This is where I learned to not give up, because I was at the dentist, my son's dentist appointment, and I was in the fucking in the waiting room and shit. Well, I had my laptop. I had 2 laptops. Everybody like, what the fuck kind of hacking shit is going on there? So I was going from one laptop to the other, and I got my pre-order in, and I was like, oh, that's just kind of what you got to do. You got to sit there and refresh. I think it took me an hour for that to come through, and it was a little longer. I think I started at probably 11:59, ready to go, and then I didn't get it until like 1:28 in the morning or something like that. It's crazy to have to do
See,
that.
Walmart,
And
I
then
was
there's still
afraid
the
it would kick
worry.
me out of line. I didn't understand how. I thought I was locked in, so I didn't want to mess
Yeah.
with nothing.
There's still the worry of like, oh, are we gonna get a bunch of fucking cancellations later now? Because that happens, obviously. This pre-order stuff sometimes too. Hopefully that won't happen this time. But yeah, I had the issue with what was it? Best Buy, and it was saying like, was it Best Buy saying that it was shipping on like the 11th or some shit? I'm like, what?
I think that was the whole
point of
reason
that?
why GameStop ultimately was like good, because they told you straight up like, this is how many. We ain't going through the PS5 thing again and start canceling pre-orders because we didn't pre-order too many. They're like,
Right.
That's because you didn't have any PS5s
You
anyway.
They didn't have them bitches. So,
Right.
I wonder why they just didn't open up as soon as they had enough people for all their pre-orders. Just, all right, we're gonna open the doors 9 a.m. We sell these things instead of make people wait. It's like they're guaranteed. I mean, it sounded like they were guaranteed that allotment in each store, and it's
Could be legal reasons, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
in their system. Maybe it wouldn't work if one store tried to go on early, but it seemed like a lot of people had success with GameStop. So, rule 2.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you went, it's like guaranteed success because you just gotta be there. You know,
Yeah.
Unless you get
gotta
there
go.
at 11.
Pretty much.
I should at least went
Yeah, I mean,
at
if
lunch.
you get there at 11, you know, I thought about it, man. Where I was like, I that's why I called because I was like, I was thinking like maybe I just stop. I was probably gonna drive by at like 9, see what it's looking like, and then if it's whatever, I'll just go at 11 and just do that. And I'm like that makes no sense. It's a new console. I gotta be there at least a couple hours early. And then when I called the guy, he said someone's gonna be here at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, someone's gonna be there at 3 a.m. And whoever was there at 3 a.m. is a dumbass. But whatever, you know.
Hey,
because what the hell?
It's an experience, man. It's part of the experience. I mean, I don't know if I'd do it for a pre-order, but
I know.
but
I was
waiting-
so
but
what's
waiting
the
in line
point?
for the actual product, I've done that. I did that.
No, but that's
but
that's different. That's different.
Yeah.
This is a pre-order.
It's a
Like,
pre-order.
you
You're
ain't
waiting in
getting
line
it.
for
You're
a
not even
pre-order.
getting it. And
And you don't-
if I'm the first one there at 3 a.m. and I see it says there's 100 of them coming, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come back in like 2 hours. You know, what am I gonna stand it for? You know, it makes no sense. It's like
I
don't
remember
know.
the Wii.
There's
They
not
just
100 people that are gonna come at 5 a.m.
during the Wii hype, it was like 20 degrees out, so they came out, gave us all tickets, and said, "All right, go back in your cars. Come, go home, whatever.
That's
Come back when you open. You're
makes
secured. This
sense.
guarantees you get it." I still wasn't gonna leave the parking lot.
If you make it safely back to your
Right.
car,
Yeah.
Give me that
So,
shit.
all right, I want to get started with something that since the last week, some new info or maybe just a realization on my part has completely changed my kind of stance on something, and it's a concern. I don't know if it's the biggest concern, and it's because of three things. So the game key cards. Initially, I was defending them. Retro Death. I was trying to explain. Initially, I was like, "This is cool. That get rid of the damn codes in the box, and you actually have a physical thing. It still downloads, but then like you could trade it, you can loan it to somebody, you could sell it. That's a benefit. That's way better than a code in a box. So that was my stance initially with the game key cards. And now we find out, good old EA, they're doing a code in a box for Split Fiction. I think
Yeah.
Madden's a key card, but Split Fiction
that doesn't even make
is
sense.
a code in a box. So that's A. That's example A. I was like, well, I thought this key card would get rid of the codes in the box. It's stupid. Second thing I find out is Split Fiction 73 gigabytes, and most of these games, the file sizes are the same as the PS5 version. Now I said half in the chat, I wasn't literally thinking half, but like 60-70% I was thinking if a PS5 game is 50 gigs, I was thinking Switch 2 maybe 35-ish, 35. Every game multiplayer right now that's been confirmed, that's at the launch, we know the file sizes. Cyberpunk obviously comes on a cart, so that's not as big of a deal. But all the game key card games, Street Fighter's 50 gigs, Yakuza's 50 gigs,
Holy
Split
shit.
Split Fiction 73 gigs. Sonic, I want to say, is like 40 or something. It's like way higher than the Switch 1 version.
What was the Switch 2? 500? What was it?
256.
250.
250.
you
can- and the-
Yeah.
4 or
if-
5 games on there.
If they're doing videos, like longer video recordings, I'm gonna guess it up to 20 of those gigs could just be set
Yeah.
for recordings and screenshots and stuff. So let's say best case scenario, 230 gigs available. So now you got game key cards. The other thing is all these third parties, except for like 2, are just doing game key cards. They're just like, screw it. We're not gonna even bother. Everybody knows we talked about Bravely Default's 11 gigs. Do we know? Some people are assuming maybe Nintendo isn't offering like the variety of game key card or games, size card, that they're just trying to keep it one. Maybe 64 is the only one. I don't know. That'd be stupid.
That would be stupid. With all the success they've had with indie games, especially, that would be.
And I'm just like, okay, so we're still getting at least one game is going to be a code in the box. Now these file sizes are way larger than I thought they were going to be, and most of these third-party companies are resorting to the game key card as the only available option. Like Street Fighter 6, $70. I would buy the physical version if it was on the cartridge with all those fighters. Like I probably wouldn't even play the PS5 version anymore because I'm guessing one of you guys clocked it. Somebody would get it, and I'd have somebody to play against.
I'd get it.
And you have all these fighters.
And all of you guys, apart from Robot, are already fucking losing because you're taking Mario Kart Digital.
Oh yeah, that's 23 and a half, I think, or 24, whatever. It's close. Yeah, I think that's
still
what it
a
is.
chunk.
That's a chunk. I forgot it. I wasn't even thinking about that. So literally, in Split Fiction, I know, I think a lot of Nintendo fans are gonna probably pick that up, or you would hope.
Everybody should fucking pick that up.
73. That in Mario Kart, I mean, you're damn near half the storage is already gone, and then the SD Express cards, it's really confusing trying to, like, I was like, all right, let's see what the cards cost. So the 256 one for $60, you can pre-order. If you just search micro SD Express, you get all these cards that just say SD Pro or SD Max. I'm like, it doesn't say it's an Express card, but some say XC.
And half of them shits are fake bullshit.
And then like the
You
real
want hidden costs? There you got hidden costs.
the real
Yeah.
Samsung, according to Samsung, their Samsung Pro, it says XC, doesn't say Express like the 256, but apparently the 1 terabyte is $200, and the 500 gigabyte is like 130. And yeah, I mean the memory was expensive when the PS5 and Series X came out. The expandable storage was huge. The Xboxes was like $230 for a terabyte, and some of the options on PS5 were up to $300. I get that, but yeah, I think the PS5's launch version had like 680 gigs after it was whatever was used. It was like 820. Maybe it was like low 700s, whatever it was. I mean, I was like, a lot of people were like, that's not a lot of storage, you know? Like, now you're getting PS5 size games and you got 256, and a lot of these games are game key cards requiring a download. So,
Robert is gonna get like a Switch 2 without Mario Kart. He's going 250 gig. He's gonna buy Call of Duty. It won't even fit on the Switch.
it'd probably take up almost the entire thing. So there goes the benefit of the game key card, because if you, well, I can, you know, it's like playing a real game. I can loan it to somebody, but every time you go to put it in, you got to download the frickin' 50, 60 gigs. It loses its value. Like, you might as well just have a frickin' code at that point. Like,
I disagree, man. In the end of the day, it's still a one-time use.
do you think
if you just say give it to somebody, you can if it's a download code.
Yeah, but so do you think you'll be able to, like?
Got nothing.
I guess. I mean, it's still better. It's still better than the download code.
Again, I could rebuy. Again, I keep saying I could buy that on eBay 2 years down the road and actually get to it for half price.
But
so
if you only can have 4 or 5 games on at a time, and like your library starts building up, you know, oh man, I want to go back to Metroid Prime. Oh shit, I mean, that's not a game key card, but you know, just try to think of a game.
Yeah,
I mean, with most of the,
man, I want to get back to Yakuza.
And yeah, most of the libraries is gonna be.
This just sounds like what I'm doing on PlayStation.
I disagree anyway
right
with
now.
Robert, man. I disagree anyway with Robert.
I mean, all you gotta do is
I'll give
archive
you
it.
the key code.
Good.
So physically, you have to be there. So if it's a digital code, now you can lend the game for 2 weeks. You can still.
I think that only works to households, though. I don't know if you can lend.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be like household stuff. And,
Yeah, but
regardless,
you give the physical code, so you
You're
can.
right, you're right, you're right. You're right, but again, for me personally, I buy these shits on eBay and stuff, so it's gonna.
I'm saying it's both garbage, but.
Well, here's the difference. I
can't
already
buy
said
that
the
thing for half
difference,
price.
though. PS5 comes with the new ones come with a terabyte. You can fit 10, 15, unless you have Call of Duty. I mean, you can fit 10, 15, 20 games on there.
I have probably like, I don't know how many, but I probably got like 30 games on both.
I mean, you're talking you're full at 4 games. If most people's libraries in a year or two is going to be
A lot of
10
games
games.
you play, Robert, are like 5.
And it's like every time, like, oh man, I want to go back to Yakuza. Oh wait, I got to download all 50 gigs every time, you know, because you got to make room, or you're going to have to.
I don't know about every time. I mean, like again, like it just
Yeah.
depends on
Also,
how
once
you
again, this
play.
is I understand the argument that Switch has less storage, but it's the same thing you've been dealing with if you're a PlayStation or Xbox owner. It's just a quicker process. It's the same thing.
I literally the last
You have a
thing that
okay.
for Xbox that I downloaded, I had to delete like 3 games. I'm not fucking crying. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, Robert, I've never had to delete a game. I've never deleted a game on my PS5 yet.
What?
Because I got like 100 games though. I play so many games. It don't matter to me.
I had to do that for Xbox recently. I had to delete games to play Expedition 33.
Game Pass and stuff.
And unless
It's still the game.
Unless
I got like
forget
20
something.
something.
How does the game key even work? Let's say you use the game key, you download the game,
It's a
you give
it-
the key to somebody else. How does that
You
work?
can't play it
Both
without. You have to have the
You can't
cartridge.
play it without the
The cartridge has to
physically
be
Oh,
being
in
you
there.
still okay, I got it.
Yeah.
It's a think
Just
of it
imagine
how
you play on
PS5
your
discs work.
PS5 right now, bro.
It's-
Like
yeah,
your
it's
PS5
that.
game is installed, but you need
You
the
have to have
disc
the
in.
disc in it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
It's the same
Yeah,
thing.
I got
Just like your PS4 from 2013. Like I don't think this is a big deal at all, personally. Like
It's
you've
not.
been doing
It's
this for over a
essentially
decade.
Nintendo catching up to something that's been going on with the other.
It would
two
be a problem
consoles.
if it had a
It's
terabyte
not a
of
big
storage.
deal unless that server
Well,
shuts down one day and you ain't gonna be able to
Yeah.
play that.
Imagine
Well,
if
Of course, that's always gonna be an issue.
Imagine if the Series
Yeah,
X or
yeah,
PS5
but-
launched with 256 gigs. I mean, yeah, you have to install every game, but right now, out of the launch lineup, there's only like 3 games, 4, unless you count the Switch 2 editions, that are on the actual cartridge. That's the difference. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't have enough storage. It's like
Well, so the
if the
core of
file
the issue
sizes
is
are going to
the
be the
storage.
same, then the storage
Yeah,
is
storage,
a quarter. Then the chances of you having to re-download games is 4 times.
I guess my thing is nothing truly has changed because in the end of the day, it's kind of the same with the Switch One, where it had only 32 gigs, and if you just downscale it to where it was 6 gigs, 7 gigs, 7 gig games, that's only a handful of games. It's the same amount now, it's just bigger numbers, and yet everyone's gonna have an SD card like we always did with Switch One, so nothing's changed.
Except
Literally, think about how many Switch One games you have, and if you say 6 gigs, 7 gigs for 32 gigs. And then you take 50 and like 40 gigs. It's the same number of games you
well,
would
the
have
difference
had.
is most of the games are
bigger
on the
numbers.
cartridge, except a few outliers. That's the difference.
I get it, but
We're not
like
talking about
download
digital. We're
games.
not talking about digital collections, and I'm just talking about if you have a
Okay,
physical
talking
thing, you
about
put it in your
yeah,
system.
yeah,
You didn't have to.
yeah, but even
Like
I mean, I get
Doom. I think I
more
had to install 10 gigs,
now it's
and
more installing. I get what you're saying.
and
I
also
mean, there's a lot of 2K games that you put in and they have to install the rest of the game.
well,
so
2K.
it's
I
not-
mean, yeah, they're like one of the worst
Yeah, but
ones.
those games still a lot of people buy those games.
It doesn't
so-
even
Yeah.
2K. You can't even if you don't have
when
an
they
SD
send
card,
out-
you can't even play 2K on
That's
the
when you're
Switch
supposed to buy 'em.
without an SD card. Like the internal.
Oh, yeah,
That is the
yeah,
Switch
One,
One. There were games that wouldn't even fit on the internal storage, so that is
Yeah.
a benefit there. But when you got the average size of games is 50 plus, like, I mean, this what's 32 or 256 divided by 32? How many times is that? Is
It'd be five. It'd be like let's say 5 max.
6, 7? It's probably like
Yeah.
8 times the storage size, maybe. 32 to
Oh, you're talking about
256.
okay. You're talking-
No,
Isn't that what the?
that's
No,
not
it's 512. The base Steam Deck is 512, right? I think it's 512 now,
No, it's
but the
256,
original
I thought.
one was 64 gigs. Maybe it's
Oh, it's
256.
61, yeah.
Like
That's right.
64
I have-
gigs, bitch. On like
Yeah, 64 gigs.
that's not even a game. You can't even get a game on this bitch.
Forgot
You
about
get a
that,
bunch
yeah,
of indie
64.
games.
I was
that's
just
what I like-
really surprised by the size of the games too, because I mean usually when a game's scaled down visually, that file size is shrunk. Even if it's PS4 to PS5, it's smaller. Like 20 gigs in some games. So I was just
Yeah,
like,
put the work in.
I will say that Split Fiction, there is a difference in terms of Split Fiction. From what I was looking, is 84 gigs on Xbox and PlayStation, so
Okay.
now it's 71.
so
And you may not think, but that's almost 20%.
it's better that it's
It's size-
smaller.
That is
Pretty
20. That is
significant.
like 20% down. It's just because it's just a big number, but it is 20% less. So like
I wonder
in
if
the end of
that's
the day,
just like high quality cinematics or something, like high res cinematics.
there is a lot of cinematics. There's a lot of cinematics in the game, but
And I don't know. It's probably not. I don't know if they're doing pre-rendered on Switch too or something to keep.
it looks like it from the trailers. It looked like it just all pre-rendered because
Mhm.
there's no like. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Also, yeah, that's true.
It's just
Well, again,
disappointing.
I mean,
I have to
you know-
use Steam for a reference. I mean, obviously, they're PC games, and as far as the Steam Deck version, goes, it's going to be comparable visually to like the Switch 2, right? But the Steam Deck version of, I guess technically it's not a Steam Deck version; it's just a PC version. But no, because
Yeah.
they do optimize it for Steam Deck. A lot of these games do get optimized for Steam Deck, and they're still fucking huge. It's they're still the same size,
Yeah.
download that
That's true.
a lot of the other consoles are. So
Yeah,
we're
that's true too,
we're getting
also.
into that space where there's probably not going to be that much difference because again, Switch 2 is very close to the current gen stuff.
This is I mean, these are I hate to say it, these were the sacrifices that came with.
Yeah.
You want a you want a higher end system. So these
That's- I
were
don't
the
understand.
sacrifices
Like, I'm
that came
not-
with.
It's not even. Yeah.
Because people don't associate Nintendo with expensive when
But
it comes
again,
to like.
You're getting a quarter of
console
the,
gaming.
the storage, so it's like that's where it becomes.
No,
no
I
one would
get
let
it.
PS,
Well, I
PlayStation,
get it, but
Xbox
that's what I'm
get
trying to
away
say.
with
That's my
256
comparison,
gigs.
though. Is
No, he's using the Steam Deck as to make the point that like
Right, that's the
the
point.
Steam Deck
Yeah.
has the same problem.
Yeah, I get what
has
you're
the same problem. You can't put as many games on that bitch either. If you're buying like again the base one, you're not getting a whole lot. And
That's
to
just
get
the
the terabyte one, you got to spend more. You got to spend $650 for that bitch, right?
Exactly.
So there is a cost if you want all that extra
You
storage.
had to
That-
pick your
That's
poison.
literally that's all you're doing from the Steam Deck original. Well, obviously also the OLED, but
Yeah.
mostly if you look at the original setup of the Steam Decks, all you're getting is a size different on the hard drive, and that price went significantly up.
If it was
for that.
Apple, you'd be
So-
paying
I'll say right now, I'm looking
for
at the
32
prices
gigs.
right now. So
Well, here's the thing.
the
Just want to remind people, this is about
549
game
one,
key cards, not
$100
just
more.
about that digital downloads. Like, this is game key cards. Like, these companies, we do not have an option to have Street Fighter 6 on a cartridge not taking up our internal storage. There's no option for that. So, like, that's why I'm bringing it up. It's not nothing to do with if you want to do all digital, buy an SD card, that's fine. Like, but as far as the key cards themselves, I've completely changed my stance on the key cards. Like, I already wasn't thinking about I was gonna buy one. Now I'm definitely not gonna buy any.
I was the same though. I never assumed somehow that the third-party games would become the same size. I always figured for Nintendo they would kind of like, crop it down a little bit. It's definitely something to consider. Another
Well,
factor.
no,
you
they
know,
are
never
dead. They
buying
are
third-party
lesser though,
games.
right?
There's slightly, I don't know what the
They are
percentage
lesser,
is.
they're
of
just
all
not-
of them.
Yeah,
The
but I guess I
lessness
should
is
say
not
it
as
differently.
much.
I guess
Well,
you should
the
say it
point is-
differently.
Well, the point is you're not dealing with a difference of like, Witcher 3 on Switch 1. You're not dealing with that kind of a difference.
Yeah, exactly. They're
Yeah.
more like their console counterparts.
They're closer. They're way closer.
So that was your
as far as-
trade-off.
Yeah.
Like, I think the reality is, I think people were like, I want a more powerful system, and then didn't think of all the things that includes. That
comes
means
with
you,
that shit.
yeah. Think about it. If a PlayStation 5 has to install a game onto the console every time you play one off the disc, why would you think the Switch wasn't going to be in that same range? There
Because
there
it's
is
a cartridge. Why would it? I wasn't. There's no
Because
way
the
any of us were
you're
expecting
assuming-
all like majority of games to just be nothing on the cartridge and have to download.
Well,
the
why
whole
would?
game.
Here's my thing. I understand that, but I'm saying like third party has never been known to take the. There's only
Yeah.
been a few third
But,
parties.
Like I said
not
in
to
the
do
chat, at this point, I would rather have a 32 gigs on the cart and have to download 40 instead of all 73. When
Yeah, but but it's cheaper for them to do it this way. Obviously,
it still sucks that you have to download stuff, but the alternative option is even worse because Switch games, a lot of times, they were under 20 gigs, other than like the 2Ks and stuff. Yeah, you only had 32, but obviously it took standard SD cards too, so you didn't have to like go out and buy anything special. I already had one.
That
that I've
wanted
been-
a higher quality system that
Yeah,
but again,
that's-
games faster.
The Switch-
visual quality for that, all that stuff has gone way up.
Before we
over what
knew
the
this,
Switch did.
though, I did talk about. I thought some of the issues would be file sizes in the cartridges and stuff. But again, I was thinking there'd be something on the cartridge and not just the whole thing. So every game you buy, like
I mean, it's not that there can't be. It's just that unfortunately, it's going to be the exception that certain developers will be willing to put things in the cartridge,
What is
and the majority of them are going to be on this fuck shit.
And by the
What
way,
is
do we
the
know what the
price
battery life is?
2
4
to
to
6
6
hours.
what
depending
is
on the
space
game.
size for the key cards? Like,
What?
what's the maximum size? What's
like-
the
Man,
space size for the key cards?
It's like some kilobytes or something, just to let it know the games on that what game
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Again,
It's like
initially I was like,
like PC when you had put the disc in, even though you download the fucking game. It's just it does the same thing basically.
why
It's
is Split
just,
Fiction?
Well, it's also like every a lot of. I mean, again, like the Call of Duty that I bought for Xbox had like a kilobyte on it,
Yeah.
and you download and it's just download everything.
Yeah.
And it, you know what? For me, it's like I do that and I move on with my day. I just don't.
Well, the
care.
difference again
for me
is
personally.
all those disc-based games have to install the whole game anyway. So
care about
there's
the
no
disc.
benefit to having half of it on the disc. Because if it all can't fit on the disc, they might as well not put any, because the whole thing
Yeah,
has
there's
to
no
install.
benefit. I still have to go to a server to download part of your game. So
At least with
At
the
that point,
with the
that doesn't
cartridge,
matter.
partial cartridge, it does free up space on your
I
storage.
mean, that would be cool if they did the partial cartridge, which I'm surprised that's not enough. I guess it seems like it's not enough.
It
I
sounded like
think it's
Nintendo
probably-
said no to that. I think that's what it said.
I think it depends on the developer. I think people are like, hey, it's cheaper just to throw it on this.
I mean, we haven't seen it yet, though. We haven't seen any.
I think
any...
one guy read the fine print, said that Nintendo stated key card or the whole game on the cartridge. according to him. I don't know how accurate that. He was a developer, said that that's what he.
It'll be
took
one of those
They
things.
probably,
As time
got
goes
some
on, we'll
sort
get
of
more
reason.
information.
I don't know what would be the reason, but they probably got, they did that for a reason. Who knows what it is? But
That'd be kind of dumb too.
I think the reason probably was it was a trade. They're essentially just using both. Like, oh, hey, we need this cartridge, and we also need to put this on the server. And it's like, well, damn.
Maybe
Why
Nintendo
don't
said
you-
we're just
why
going to
don't you
produce two carts, a 64 gig and a key card cartridge. That's it.
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll just have to assume.
Could be. I mean, like I said, as time goes on, we'll find out more.
There are tons of third-party, tons of indie game companies that still put their game out physically, and you're forcing them to use a 64 gigabyte cart. Fuck out of
Yeah.
here with
Yeah.
that. That's crazy.
well,
Just
to find out, we'll see when like stuff starts launching and like how much space I guess is on the
Yeah.
card and
Well, yeah,
We'll find
we
out.
actually see if we see as many of those types of games from indie companies or AA companies
probably gonna get a
that are
lot less
actually on that cart.
physical.
Are they gonna? Yeah, because there's a ton of physical stuff for like smaller games on Switch. Is that
Well,
going to
that's
be
the
the
thing,
case for
like,
Switch too?
yeah, I mean limited run. I mean all these
Yeah.
smaller games, like a lot of them do have physical copies on Switch because they sold really well on it. So I'd be very interested to see what happens. And I can't imagine Nintendo would want to just lock that out because
Well,
that made
I guess
them
that's
money
not
too.
really-
I wonder how
You know,
like
so-
once systems out, games or something. I wonder how the general public's gonna feel about the game key cards. Like once people actually
No
start
one's gonna give a
using
fuck.
them.
If I'm being completely honest, the general audience, they're
They
gonna
won't
buy the
care.
game, they're gonna download the game, and they're not gonna care.
They're already used to it. They've been indoctrinated.
I get
to it
like
through
when you're on
two
your
other
when you
console
have to
generations.
after 5 games you're gonna have to delete one. I think that could be
This is
change
the-
people's minds.
It's
I mean,
man.
own more than 5 games. How many people do you think, on average, you think are gonna own more than 5 games? The casual person not owning more than 5 games.
Most of
people
them will
don't
just buy Mario Kart
own-
and won't
most-
buy anything
like,
else.
the average gamer does not own more than 5 games. Like,
Pokemon,
that's just not even a thing.
Casual.
Yeah, they're going. I think our casual audience owns like maybe 3 or 4 to 5 titles, depending on the situation.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they're not even. I don't think most of the people are even going to run into that, especially with just Nintendo games. They're not running into that.
You don't think people are gonna buy multiple games at launch?
Even if they did, like again, they do that on PS5. And stuff.
Not
Like,
the
people-
casual audience. The hardcore
Yeah,
audience will bring it.
the casual audience has, they got tons of stored on the phone. They deleting photos. Like people are used to deleting and downloading stuff. Like it's
Yeah,
just
they've
not a-
been
I do that shit
indoctrinated
on
for
my Xbox
years.
all the time. I do that shit on Xbox all the time, and I got the fucking. I have the little hard drive memory card that slide in there, and I still don't have much space in that shit, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, realistically, every time I play a game on PS5 and Xbox at this point, I always have to delete something, and
I'm
it's
always
like,
deleting shit.
okay,
Steam Deck
Okay.
owners, you're always
I have to
deleting.
install it anyway, so I don't even care if I have to do that. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me at this point. Like
It's not-
It,
I mean,
hasn't bothered me for more than a decade because I've been doing this for more than 10 years. So
That's
it just
true.
doesn't matter. It doesn't
Portable
bother me.
PC owners will all delete
always
shit
do
all
it.
the time. You're always doing that
Always.
shit.
And
This is
like
not-
as we got
this is
as we got
nothing
closer
new.
to that, that's what, as we got closer, I'm like, yeah, Switch is gonna eventually have to do something. Like that. Nintendo gonna eventually enter that market where there's
People are
gonna be
just
big
like
file sizes
people are
that
having
gonna
shell
download.
shock because they're not used to it. If you're a Nintendo only, you're like, what? Oh,
Yeah,
and even
I mean-
the Switch was slowly indoctrinating you into that anyway.
And the stupid part is this is what people wanted.
That is
But
true.
that's
What
Yeah,
people
but
wanted.
you're gonna
This
have
was
to
the
do-
trade-off.
All right.
Yeah,
unless you want to go back to like, unless you want to go less powerful every single time you make a console, it's gonna have to.
I mean, people want
It's
it more
absolutely-
powerful. I don't think
Yes.
they necessarily needed to give up on like third parties not even making an effort to put the game on the cartridge. So that
And
And all of
I
a
get
sudden, Nintendo fans care about graphics because the Switch 2 is more powerful. Switch 2 is more powerful than the Steam Deck. So all of a sudden, these Nintendrones care about graphics when they've been saying, "Oh, graphics don't matter." Like all the weird like straw man arguments and shit that I'm seeing all the time now. It's like, what Nintendo fans that we don't care about graphics? I don't know. I don't really know that many. I mean, they'll say to you, graphics aren't as important
Thank you.
as the gameplay, but that they seem
that's
to
not the same
equate the two.
thing.
Right, that's not the same thing, but they'll make it act like that's the argument. Nintendo fans don't care about graphics, but now they care about graphics because they can throw it in the face of Steam Deck owners. I'm like, who's making these arguments, man? It's so
Well,
funny.
And I'll say that the day the day physical dies for Nintendo is when they start using something like a game key card. If they're
Yeah.
not using a
Oh,
game
it's
key
over.
card,
It's obviously
and
a
we're
lot.
yeah.
fine. Like it's fine. Like in the end of the day, majority of the people, the 70 million people that bought Mario Kart, don't need to download something. Well, unless they get the bundle. The 40 million people that bought Animal Crossing don't need to download something. The 20 million to 30 million, like in the end of the day, like these huge chunks of people aren't going to have to deal with a lot of that anyway. But at the same time, half the people that are on Switch One already download anyway. They don't even think about it. More than half download on PS5 and Xbox Series X. Like downloading
Regular.
is just
Don't even
a
know it.
thing in the
Don't even
world.
know it.
And it's a thing in the world, and they don't.
I
It
just
just
remember
doesn't,
the
like, at
days
this
of
point,
us
like, it doesn't matter.
talking about was it Wolfenstein, and I think
Mm.
Wolfenstein was like one of the first. Doom. They said it was just the
Doom.
multiplayer, but Wolfenstein was the
Yeah,
first
it's
one that
multiplayer.
required, and then
Yeah.
2K, and they were
Well,
the.
LA Noir was a download required, I
Was
believe.
it?
And
I don't
remember
think
LA
so.
Noir? They had the download required.
I remember Wolfenstein being the first one to have that
I
ugly
bought it
banner,
back then, so it
Did
just
you?
did what it is.
and it's like, I mean, it just sucks that it's even more going to be more prevalent.
Yeah, I bought it. I like a little bitch. I went out and bought that game.
Damn, man.
I'm
Why you
honestly,
gotta
I'm more
be-
inclined to just.
why you gotta be a bitch about it? That's what I'm trying to figure out, man.
Because I got caught up in
Switch
the whole. Oh
3?
my gosh, Bethesda is supporting
It sounds.
the Switch.
Yeah.
This is amazing, and so I went out and supported them for that basically. So I thought that
Oh,
was
and I
good.
tell you what, like this is. I mean, for instance, like Microsoft themselves, they just been doing game key cards for all their games. Every single game they release. So of
Right.
course, on like Nintendo, they're gonna do like when they release Oblivion Remastered and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff, they're gonna just have key cards for that too. Like,
Do you think what do you call it? Do you think Indiana Jones is on that disc? Hell no, that shit ain't on there.
They put 20
No.
gigs for whatever reason.
Even the games that are on the disc are way different because of all the updates and shit. Like Starfield,
that's what
like
I'm saying. I
Starfield,
don't.
it's a worthless game almost if you buy it, physically because there's nothing on that even comes close to what the game is now. So it's
What I'll
just
say is there's not many games in this world nowadays other than probably like indies
Cyberpunk.
that it's a
Cyberpunk.
big that's somewhat budget. The game that you buy day one is not the game that you play 2 years from now.
It depends
It's
on
not.
if they update like the retail, like the disc with like the new version. If they don't, then yeah. But if you buy at launch, obviously.
Yeah, that is what they
Especially
used to
as
do.
someone who buys these games like years down the road, I have yet to see someone
Because
that
apparently
has something-
Nintendo's been updating a lot of their games that
Yeah,
have gotten,
Nintendo, they don't even tell you and shit. They put all
and you don't even know. Like,
Nintendo used to do that on the N64 already. Tino's Ocarina of Time. They
Yeah.
got like complaints because of the Western Europe and
Because
stuff.
of
because of some of the
religious,
songs. Yeah, exactly.
religious
Some of
stuff
the
and then-
depictions and songs.
Yeah.
So they stopped making those games, and the games
Yep.
afterwards are not even the same Zeldas
They
anymore.
put out a
Different
completely
music.
different game on the same
Yeah.
console. People don't even think about that kind of stuff, but that happened all the time back in
That's
the day.
what I'm saying. Like, I know a lot, and I get it. The future of like, oh, when things go down, but like realistically, like the games that you're buying today, day one, are like you said. There's always patches. We always talk about day one patch for literally over a decade, and they
Bitch, are
continue
you
to release
playing?
new content. Like it's not the same game at the.
Yeah, are you
it's-
playing the day one Cyberpunk version? I hope you ain't playing
No.
that bullshit.
But-
Completely different.
this,
Completely
the
different.
one you're buying is gonna be updated, so that would be.
Yeah, it is updated actually on the cart, and so
Well, the one you're. But
You bought-
again, that's the Switch 2 version. If you bought a
right.
PS5 copy today,
Yeah.
you download a whole bunch of updates. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I do think
That's because
there's
that game
like a
didn't sell.
negative
They
to
didn't
that.
have to
I don't
manufacture anymore.
I don't necessarily
No,
like
but
it that
in,
they
dude,
can't
in
update
general,
games like that.
what PS5 game do they always re-release with the
I'm saying I
updates
don't
on
know.
it?
I don't know.
Well,
I
I'll tell you
mean-
right now, someone who's 2 years behind, they don't. No one does.
they don't
No one
update
does.
it.
Well,
There's always an update file every single time I buy a game. There's always an update file. Everything.
In the end,
They
that's where
don't
you're
do
gonna
this
lose
stuff,
because
man.
it's not
Every
just.
game that you buy is not the game you will be playing. That when the servers go down when you're dead, it ain't there, bro.
Bayonetta
It's
2
day
is still
one.
the same game
I mean,
on
when the
Wii U.
servers go down, your collection is dead
Yeah.
anyway, Robert. I'm just saying.
Again, I'm going to be dead too. I said this before, I said this like in the chat.
Damn.
Unfortunately, I get it when the servers are thing, but we can still. I know people don't want. We can still 20 years later go on the Wii Shop channel and re-download.
You
our-
hope, yeah, for now, but you hope that 20 years from
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
all your shit's still gonna
yes,
work.
How much faith do you have in the
odds
Wii
of-
Shop channel being in a few years?
I don't know, man.
That
Look,
shit's gonna be.
we've been saying that every year, and the end of the day, the odds of the Switch 2 servers going down before we're dead, I think.
But you
is
keep
in-
saying the
not having-
Wii Shop, but that's like you
I will
need
play
to
some
be
weird-
asking the Wii U shut down.
But I will
You
play
put a lot of
some-
faith. You put a lot of
I
faith
will
into a
place a
company
bet
that just.
that in the afterlife, I will come to visit you guys in the afterlife.
Ah,
No,
God.
like,
and fits are still up, bro.
if
All
we're
right.
going by rank, you would die last anyway. We would all be dead regardless.
Are
That's
you
what
gonna
I'm
get
saying.
in-
I'm gonna meet you in
Yo,
the
stand
afterlife.
over your grave.
Are you gonna get in
What you
line?
gonna
Stand
so
over
what you
your
gonna-
grave and be like, I told you so. I
you
told you.
gonna get-
Each and every
So
single one of you.
by the way, so Robert's gonna hit us with the by the way. How's the Afterlife, guys? Second of all, I can still download my Switch 2 games.
Technically, Assassin's Creed Unity, what's on the disc is the best version because it's uncapped and you can play it at 60 FPS on a PS5. But all the patches and stuff, that's all locked away now.
I'm gonna just be real about it. If people really have an issue with the idea of the whole installing games and it not being on the physical cartridge or disc, the time to fight was like a decade ago, and it didn't happen.
Yep,
You
nobody
didn't
cares.
win,
We're all
and
screwed.
and we're screwed. So we're not gonna play the
Well, Nintendo
woe
did
is
it first.
yeah, like we're not gonna do that because people are like, see,
We're definitely
Nintendo
not doing that
getting key cards as you slide in your fucking PS5 disc or download
Yeah,
on
I
Steam.
You can go to hell. Ain't no way in hell you're gonna try to blame Nintendo for this bullshit. Ain't
Yeah,
no
like
way.
if y'all were gonna like
no
people,
way.
if people wanted to fight for certain things, you should have fought like a decade ago.
Right.
Same thing.
Look, I see arguments online about like saying that
Bitch.
they're taking our rights away with the GameCube cards.
Bitch,
I'm
you
like,
lost your rights. Like
How old is
What?
one of my most famous videos called Broken Gamers? What is it called? Broken Gamers.
oh,
Makes
broken gamers,
Games.
broken games. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was what I was complaining about in that fucking video. If you go back and watch it, it's too late for that shit. That shit's over. That
I mean,
ship
if
is
you
sailed.
want 5-minute load times, they could make it read off the disc. But I mean, with 100
It doesn't make it-
gigabyte,
they're not
Oh, we
going
need to go
to.
back to the PS1
They're not
era.
going to, and we've normalized it. That's the
So
problem.
cartridges.
what? I'm like, in the end of the day, all of us download updates. All of us, like, if you really felt that way, you would take that update and say, no, don't you dare download. I will play with my broken game. Don't you dare download. I will remove the
I
patch.
don't know
will
about you. I
remove
don't
it."
buy a lot of broken
Imagine
games.
that face if you really
Yeah, I
felt
was gonna
that.
say
Cyberpunk's
I
probably
would
one.
actually be like, I would rather not have an update because I want to play the fucking game. I'm tired of sitting here waiting on updates. This game played just fine last time I played it. Fuck your update, okay?
Yeah,
Can
I
I
want-
just play?
I want to talk about
Yeah,
how
I
crazy
mean,
we
I
went.
would
We
agree
went
with that.
from, but I want to mention on something crazy. We went from slipping a disc in or a cartridge in and the game just starting to having to install the whole game. And then one of the new features for a new console was, well, now guys, you only have to install like 30%. Then you can start the game. Bitch, I used to be able to plug in, just plug it in and it would just play. How
Yeah.
is that a benefit?
You can
We've
still
been
get that on
conceding
Switch.
and conceding over these last decade, 15 years. So all these little tiny conceits we've been doing, and now we're totally screwed. They have complete
30%
control.
is wild to me, especially when you think about most of the time it's just allowing you just to get into the main screen.
Right.
I've never actually tested to see how far you can get in the game.
I didn't
I've-
test
Oh,
it
you
because
can
I
like
want
get to the opening
the game.
sequence, and that's it. That shit's done.
But my
because
point
usually
is
you
just
gotta wait
like,
for the update
why-
anyway. But
But the point is that you've been tricked. You went from being able to just plug a game in to having to install the whole game to be like, well, now you only have to install like a third of it, and then you can start. Oh, whoop-de-fucking-do! I still can't plug it in and play it immediately. I still gotta wait.
depends on. I mean, I forget which game it was early on. There was one where it was like it was a good chunk of the game, and by time it was almost done, by time I had to wait, like there was like 1 or 2 gigs left, But I don't think most games do that. I think it's just take to the menu, and I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't actually tested any. But I
Yeah, I
will
haven't
say the
bothered.
difference is
We're-
the technology
to
of
it.
the Switch 2 cartridge still provides that plug in and play option, and the fact that developers are taking the cheap way out and taking that away, to me, I think it's sad.
Oh no,
It's
that's
lazy.
a fair opinion. It sucks that we're playing the install game now on the Switch 2. It sucks that the storage issue is going to be potentially a quicker problem because of the less storage we have. All those things suck, and I think those are valid complaints to have. But I just don't like. I don't like the narrative. Like this is like the concept in itself. It's new. Isn't if for Nintendo fans, it's absolutely new. But if you've played any other console, you've been suffering for years,
yeah, you've been going through
and
this,
you
right?
just assume and nice like, Nintendo. No, you wanted them to join the 21st century.
Right.
Surprise! This is the life you've been. This is the life you've been living for the last decade or two. I hope you like
I
it.
want to say
complaining
to
about-
Robert, by the way, who's like, I have these game codes, and in 20 years everything's still going to work. Game codes, most of them, if not all, have expiration dates. So if you remove that shit from your system, you'll never be able to play
He's
that
like,
game again.
well, I'm not catching strays.
For one, what game code are you even talking about?
I
What are you
have
talking
game
about?
code. Well, not here because my fucking boat isn't here. I have game codes because I bought a few in the past in a box.
When this shit
there's
comes in, I
expiration
swear to
dates on
God.
it. If you
Man
don't
came over on
download
the
the
boat and
game
forgot the
before
boat.
then, you don't have the game. If
We're
you
not
then
talking about
download the
game
game
codes,
and you
we're talking about
delete it, it's
Game
gone.
cards. Yeah, but we're not talking about game codes. Game
No.
codes.
I'm just
I agree,
simply
man.
mentioning game
are the
codes.
worst
Hey,
way.
I hate retro sometimes.
Game codes are the worst way because yes, they have expiration dates, which for some reason, like I saw one that was like I have one that goes for till 2099, right? And then I have another one that's already expired. I'm like, how the fuck? And it's so stupid. But again,
that's
like at the end of the day, like I'm not talking about. I don't. Yeah,
Well, I
game
You
think-
codes.
are, by the way,
I think
making
what Retro is alluding
2099
to
probably.
is also not just that, but the license and all that kind of stuff, licensing of the game
Mhm.
itself. That can
Yeah.
still happen with game key cards. It'd be like, well, we don't have the license to this game anymore. You can't download this shit no more. Like, there's nothing stopping that from happening either.
Yeah.
So
No, that's fair.
Yeah, it just I mean,
That's
I
what I'll
don't
be
I don't
curious
see
to-
the
yeah, I'll be-
other than it's better than a download code. I don't. That's the only
Right.
positive I could think of for it.
in the immediate future, yes, it's better than download codes. Like you can, like you said, you can share it, you can do all kinds of stuff, you can sell it
And again, my
if
thing
you
is,
want.
again, you
Yeah.
sell it, you
Big
get, you
point.
get it,
Big
you'll
point.
have, a cheaper option over the digital copy, very likely.
Ayers, why would you buy? I guess if you bought Metroid Prime 4 on Switch Switch 1 to avoid the disclaimer on the box and then paid for the patch, but if you just buy the Switch 2 edition, you ain't downloading no 4K. Mouse controls are just
For what?
they're on the Switch 2 edition for Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, that was a
Like-
weird comment. I don't know what to say about
For
that
what
one.
the
Because it's not like it's
retro,
going to be a
you know?
staggered release. It's going to be day and date, Switch 2, Switch 1. I guess if
Oh,
you
I
don't,
think he's saying he's gonna buy. Isn't he just saying he's gonna buy the Nintendo
With-
Switch 2 version?
I don't know what he's saying. With
Also, I
4K
think-
download, it's not a download. It's on the cartridge if you buy
No,
the
but I
Switch 2
think
edition.
it just mistyped it. I think it just means
I don't know.
in 4K.
But
I think.
it's just I don't know. To me, it's just
Of course,
it's just
like, I mean,
disappointing
it's
because
kind of a bygone era.
I feel like almost every third party game, I'm gonna say 90% is gonna be a game key card, if not higher. So Monster
it
Hunter
wouldn't
Wilds
surprise
gets
me.
announced, game key card. I even think
I don't know about that.
I think a lot of the indies will not be.
I think maybe the smaller companies,
especially if
Mar-
it's over
Marvelous
64
has already
gigs.
proven that they'll support it properly.
Yeah,
Well,
or
just
second party games.
Go to
I
Best
think
Buy
a
and
lot
look
of
at the all the games they have listed to pre-order. Almost all of them are game key card. Obviously.
Yeah, it's only
Nintendo's.
like
Yeah, but the question is, how many third party games were you gonna buy if they didn't have that? Like out of curiosity, like other than I think
Me
Street
personally,
Fighter,
I'd buy a Street Fighter.
It was like I think Street Fighter was the one you brought
But
up.
I'm not,
yeah.
I can look at the 20 games, even though I'm not
Didn't-
buying them, and say that, wow, why is there so many with the game key card? Like, it doesn't have to be
I'll buy
just the
Madden.
ones I'm buying.
I'll be very curious to see that it would, what I'll be very curious because I like getting the indie games physically.
That'll be
big-
the interesting to
I
see if indie games get physical games on that are actually on the cartridge.
I think that'll have to do with the truth of the sizes, like we were talking about. Is Nintendo forcing bigger carts, or do they have the options that they once had on Switch for Switch 2 of the different sizes and stuff. Because if they don't have that, indie companies ain't gonna fuck with that shit either.
No.
I don't, like you're not forcing me to pay for the highest card because you don't have the option for me to have something lesser. No, so
Shinnen's
could change.
fast game is like 3.8 gigs, and
Yeah.
Yes.
obviously it's a digital game. They don't.
Nintendo is the weirdest company on the planet for gaming to me. It's just a weird company. They don't put out anything new until a new Nintendo console comes out. Like it's
Yeah.
what? How do they do that? Like how do they sustain themselves as a
Yeah.
company?
They were developing. It's once a console generation. What's the
Okay, so-
problem?
So is Damon
So are
X
we gonna
Machina
get-
not on a key card? It doesn't have it on. Oh, it's marvelous.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
marvelous.
On a cart.
My boy's
Like,
marvelous. Let's go.
Are they gonna just like re-release stuff? Like 'cause they got some fire ass little games that I wouldn't mind playing on Switch too. Yeah, like where's my Jet Rocket? Where is like Art of Balance? This is just the most soothing game with the best music of
What'd
all
they have?
time.
The middle, or wait,
What was that one
the
they
Toy
had?
Shooter. What's the twin stick
Yeah, the
shooter?
Nano Assault.
Nano Assault. Like
What's
they got
the
some fire little games.
what's that 8K game that they made that goes up to 8K?
Oh yeah,
Tourist.
The Tourist. Yeah.
That's they
Just got
made
right.
Fast
Yeah.
RMX, the Tourist. I don't know if they had another game last generation.
No, they don't make anything, and they still just sit around.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm not-
push out stuff.
I mean, I'll probably support it, but I'm not like super hyped for another Fast. I haven't played quite a bit of the Wii U one.
This is Fast Fusion. They have a new gimmicky mechanic. there,
Yeah, I
you
like
know?
the new mechanic.
I
This
actually,
is
pretty
technically a
cool.
brand. Fast RMX was like
yeah,
some old
Yeah, Fast
stuff.
RMX was just like a remaster, basically.
I was a
of
little
the Wii U
honestly.
game.
I thought they'd push the hardware even more, but it sounds like they're doing a lot of real time lighting and stuff. So
I thought that shit looked really good. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's another good thing about this. Cool thing about this company, they put out some pretty high quality little games on Nintendo consoles. How did you? And then they just disappear until the
Yeah.
next console comes out.
Like, well,
How
we
do they
did
do
our
that?
job. We did the homework.
Aren't they the ones
I
who made
wonder
like
if
Iridian and shit like that too? Isn't that Shinin? The Iridian
Wow.
games on Game Boy Advance, the shooters. I'm
probably.
pretty sure that's them because I remember Iridian 3D was like one of the most visually impressive Game Boy Advance games, and I'm pretty sure that was Shinin. And they just do that and they disappear for the whole generation.
Look at, I mean, that's.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry. This
I think
this
the
looks like a PS5 game.
It
I
looks
mean, the
good.
Switch One game looked pretty. I had to see side by
Yeah.
side. I was just expecting them to be a further leap over the Switch.
Like,
One.
honestly, I'm playing Red Out.
We're talking about like
on
7
Xbox
guys, I
360.
think. That. Oh,
So
This
sorry.
game looks
that's
good.
the extent of it. Damn, that was short.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you get.
But I honestly, I
they're a
thought
tiny
Fast
company.
RMX looked incredible. Like it was one of the best, technically
Yeah.
best looking games. I just
Yeah.
saw Shin and I was like, oh wow, they're really gonna take it. It doesn't look to me like a generational leap, but that's just looking off footage. I'd have to see it like a comparison. Maybe my memory of Fast RMX is that it looks like Fast Fusion and it doesn't.
Well, I guess to me, it's also just like, again,
Punch'ems?
we're also in the point where you're gonna start to see, because for me at least, PS4 to PS5 isn't a big jump, so it's kind of like you would
When
think, yeah, maybe like Shinin just did so crazy on Switch One that it's like that looked like a PS4 game to me.
Well, I
That's
What they did with the Wii, with Jet Rocket, that game looks really fucking good for a Wii game.
Alright.
Like,
Yeah, this definitely is lower resolution for sure.
and I'm pretty sure it's 60 frames and just a pretty
Oh, it
game.
still
you
looks
can
pretty
see it.
good though. Like this.
No,
Yeah,
it's a
great.
great game.
It's great, but yeah, there is definitely a difference when you actually go back and look at it for sure. For sure. Like
Some
these
of
Not
my
the
favorite
vehicles.
experiences on the Wii U and Switch was playing this freaking game.
I don't know, man. I think it's close. I just think it's closer than I expect. I thought they would like be.
I actually, honestly, I ain't gonna lie. Seeing it right now, I think it's actually a bigger gap that I remember.
Really? I'm thinking smaller now. That
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
watching
look at
It looks
this,
bigger
like,
to me.
like actual texture in the anti-aliasing, like look at the edges of the snow, like, and then you go back to fast, like.
We gotta see
Fusion.
more. That's just that little teaser doesn't really show a whole lot. So
No.
From what
Again,
we
in
saw,
Shenzhen, they make the really high quality games with no budget. tiny team. The games always look really good. I would like to see more of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And yeah, they did
I,
do a Jet Rocket. I would love to see another platformer from them.
I love
you
Jet Rocket. The 3DS one was dope too. Like,
Yeah.
So
That's
what do
one
you
of the
think?
games I downloaded before the 3DS shop died.
oh yeah, Jet
Oh,
Rocket.
did you?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Robert kind of touched upon this last week. Like, what do you expect Nintendo to go? How far to go with the Switch 2 editions? Do you think they're gonna just start grabbing everything from
That's
Switch
good.
1 and making a Switch 2 edition, or do you think it's gonna be more
Uh,
few and far between, less, more selective?
yeah, I
Mm,
do. I do.
I don't know.
I
Based on
don't.
what we've seen so far,
years.
I mean, Kirby has a fucking Switch 2 version. Kirby? Like,
man.
once
His anniversary just
Kir-
came out, bro. 33rd anniversary.
Okay,
Come
but
on,
I'm
man.
just saying.
Come on,
once
man.
Kirby does
I
it,
don't think you. I don't think you see another Kirby game outside of Air Ride in that game for a while.
What?
man.
Man, I disagree with
What
that. I
made you
disagree
say
with that
that?
heavily.
What?
Yeah, I don't think.
What
You,
made
know,
you-
You don't think you're gonna see another Kirby game for a while?
yeah, for a little
It's
while.
Kirby.
I
They
think.
release
I
like
think,
damn near
I
Every
think
2
you
years.
Get Kirby. I think you get
Every year.
Kirby and Air Ride, and I think maybe 3 to 4
Kirby-
years you may get something else.
3 to 4 years.
You get
No,
a 2D
no, no,
Kirby
no,
game
no.
in 2 years tops.
Right.
Yeah, I agree,
Definitely.
agreed.
Kirby is one of the most lucrative IPs Nintendo has. People don't even think about it. They make that game. Those games take nothing to make, and Kirby is super popular.
You think
They
it's
always
gonna
sell
be a
really well.
30 FPS game on Switch 2, this next 2D side scroller?
No,
No.
it's gotta be.
No, of course not.
I would think
Look
no.
at the ass whoop.
We don't know. There could be a
Um,
quality and performance code, you know what I mean?
I think Xenoblade Chronicles X is gonna get a Switch 2 edition. I could see
Yep.
Mario Odyssey. I could see.
Oh, now Mario Odyssey, that's under the free
Oh, it's
update.
on the free update.
Yeah.
That okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Mario Wonder. Sorry.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder is
Yeah.
coming out.
Metroid Dread. I could see. Pikmin
Oh, yeah, I guess
4.
so. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now what's on it again, 'cause I think Pikmin 4 is also on there, but let me see. Free updates.
Yeah.
It's very easy.
Princess
If
Peach
they-
Showtime.
If they sell a lot of these updates, Nintendo's going to do a lot more.
Mhm.
That's
I
that's
think
what
Luigi's-
that's what it's
I
gonna take.
think Luigi's Mansion is going to be on there. I do think Luigi's
Uh,
Mansion is gonna be on there. Yeah.
What about Donkey Kong
See, my only
Country?
problem with these Switch 2 updates, though, is
I hope
that
not.
is that I just hope when they start adding new content to it, I'm like, is this kind of a Wii U port situation where, maybe you won't see a... I mean, to be fair, we did get, like, how many Wii U ports do we have that we didn't get a sequel? Only Donkey Kong, right? I think. Was it only Donkey Kong?
Mm-hmm.
Code?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
it-
Now,
so-
but there was a lot more initially, but they've released sequels obviously since the
No,
Wii U
yeah,
ports.
since, but that's my thing is I would hope it's not like that where it's like it feels like, oh, we get this and then it's like 2-3 years down the road then we get a sequel.
Well,
to
Mario
something.
Kart.
I hope it's not like
Mario Kart's another one.
Mario Kart. Yeah, it was like yeah. So that's why, like, I mean, I think it's look. What I do like about this is like technically you're getting new DLC for I know Kirby apparently is really good at O'Clock. It's happy about that. It says it looks like a brand new game or whatever. And also Retro. I think you said you're like, oh, it looks like a brand new game. But
It's definitely not
Mario-
like some minor stuff. It's fucking new levels, new enemies,
Yeah,
new
I'm
abilities,
I'm
new
buying that.
story.
Fuck.
well, yeah, I
forget
mean,
about them.
especially if you have it, it's literally
But
just $20.
What if you just wanted to
Yeah,
replay the
Yeah,
game?
just how it should be, Robert.
What if you
What
just
I'm saying,
wanted to
what
play
if
the
that-
game at a higher frame rate and resolution? I mean, it's they're kind of tying the two together, right?
about here's a
You got to get the new content if you want to play like the higher fidelity or 60 FPS version, which
Yeah.
I guess whatever. But I just don't want them to make extra content just so they can charge the 20 versus just
Yeah.
give us the like Age of Calamity.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm hoping it's compelling content.
if they're
It looks like
if
it
they're
might
going
be.
to, it better
It
be
will be.
compelling.
I would off this list. I would definitely expect Mario Wonder for sure. I think that's almost a guarantee. And look, I am in love with that game. So new content as $20 DLC, I'll be fine with that.
that would I'd rather
but
have
I
new
still-
content than
I
just
want a new 2D Mario. Not 4 years after. I'd want
not,
New
it.
world.
not 20 years later like some of us had to wait.
Exactly. So something like that. Like I know my problem though is and it's making me worried. There's a lot of I've seen videos and stuff. Nintendo Switch 2 editions
You know they're
that
going to
I
be
want and
people are
stuff.
going to be begging them
Oh.
for them now.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen those
Mhm.
videos too. I'm
You
like,
know the
Oh,
one.
you mean
delete
like
that
how
shit.
they were begging for Xenoblade
Delete-
Chronicles X and
They were
everything
just
else?
like begging for Wii ports. Now they're begging for Switch 2
Yeah.
editions.
I saw a funny
I'm
meme
like, yo,
of
what is wrong with
Twilight Princess and Wind Waker double pack.
Bitch, I want a Star Fox.
I wish I could remember
Oh
what it
yeah.
was.
Yeah, you can forget about that shit.
It was
That,
like
I told you that shit was gonna happen back, back when they started saying that. You know, I ain't giving up that money. Ain't no way.
I think one game that really could use a Switch 2 upgrade though, so it have a decent resolution frame rate would be Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I wouldn't
What do you
mind
think,
that.
Terrell?
I'd probably pay for that. I wouldn't mind
To be
that.
fair,
shit
there's
at all.
no Xenoblade on this list, so maybe that's one of those games will get it. Well, I think for sure Xenoblade Chronicles X will get something because it just came out.
It doesn't need it.
But maybe Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3 both get something also. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm probably lying. I wouldn't want that because I ain't playing through that game again.
T, did you remember Matt Casamassina, IGN Nintendo guy? Did you see what he
Matt,
posted about the Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom? Fucking
I
blew
saw-
my mind.
I saw like a little hint, a little piece of it. I didn't really read
He
it.
said,
What did it say?
I know this is sacrilege as a Nintendo fan, but I didn't finish Breath of the Wild and barely touched Tears of the Kingdom because, dudes, I couldn't deal with those frame rates.
Oh, that I know what you're about.
Like,
What?
the guy who gave Twilight Princess a 9.5, he couldn't finish Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom because of the frame rates. Come on, dude. Like, they weren't that fucking bad.
Weren't bad at all.
What?
So he's excited for the Switch 2 editions, basically what he's saying. Like, I'm like,
That's
man, I need to unfollow this motherfucker.
That's sacrilege because it didn't make any sense. What?
You're acting like you're acting like it was unplayable. Like,
30 frames was too much, man.
At
It
all
wasn't even
times.
locked 30 frames. What the fuck?
yeah, there's some
man?
when you kill moblins, there's some stuttering here and
I'm
there.
not spending
but
$60 for a 24
it did not
frames a second
affect
game.
It did not affect your combat. It didn't. Like,
It
you
wasn't
did,
worth it.
the
Did you play Ocarina of Time, bitch? That bitch
Yeah, exactly, like-
it's just 24 to 20 frames per second. Are you kidding me?
he
What are you
he
talking
followed
about?
that up by saying over the
Yes.
years he's become really like obsessed with high frame rates and stuff. He must be a PC guy now or something. But I just like, dude,
Yeah.
man, like
What?
that's like, how could you say that? That's
Well, that's what
You
the
didn't-
saying is, man. Either you die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain.
I guess he grew up and Nintendo didn't grow up with him, I guess, Well, like, what the fuck? You didn't finish Breath of the Wild because of the frame rates. Like, get the hell out of here.
I can't
You
believe
should,
it.
I need lock 60, bro. I need lock 60.
It's just, that's
I mean,
just,
look,
What is it? 90% of that game that's not even a factor? Like how?
yeah.
How?
and it's even
That
when
makes
it's
no sense.
bad in the Korok Forest, it's still, I mean, it's noticeable, but it
Yeah.
still doesn't affect that area. You don't do any combat or
There's no
anything.
action. Yeah,
Well,
there's
you're
no
not in there
You're
action.
just
fighting
walking
and shit,
around.
man.
I mean, yeah, it looks nice at
Yeah.
60 on PC. I mean, but I still played more on the Switch after the fucking. I got
Yeah.
the emulated version running at 60, 1080p 60 on my PC. Like,
Yeah, and that force, it was tough. It was tough to watch and play through, but like, at the end of the day, you weren't there for very long, and there's no, like you said, there's no combat or anything in there.
just,
And
I mean, the
get outta
guy's,
here, man.
he doesn't cover Nintendo anymore for a job, and he's a developer. I think he's developed some games or published. I forget exactly what he does. But man, it's like,
it's
I
crazy. That's
I
crazy.
mean,
coming from him,
that's an opinion, but man, it's hard not to. It's not to. Now I think differently of the guy. I ain't gonna lie. Like, next time he says
Don't believe
something,
it anymore.
I'm gonna be thinking about this. Like, do I care what he thinks?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You
Skyward
like,
Sword,
alright,
a
well,
10 out of 10.
Like, I
But
mean,
the same, was it him or Bozeman that gave Skyward Sword a 10 out of 10?
I
What are
don't
you talking
know
about?
which one, but I know Twilight Princess. He was arguing. I like Twilight Princess, but he was like arguing for Game of the Year, and even as a Nintendo fan back then, I was like, yeah, I don't, you can try, but I don't see that as Game of the Year personally. I didn't when it came out. I remember he was like, there were like a conference room as a Game of the Year, kind of like video they were showing everybody discussing, and he was like talking about Twilight Princess, and I was like, really, man? I mean, you're the Nintendo guy. It's probably the only chance they have, but even I know a lot of people loved it, but
Well, what game?
I
when
mostly
did that
love
come out?
Twilight Princess, but goddamn that opening. Goddamn.
2006.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what IGN's Game of the Year was in 2000. Yeah, because that was
Is it
the Wii.
2006 Twilight
Mhm.
Princess? I mean, to be fair, I don't know
I
what
think it was
games came out in
Okami
2006.
actually.
The piss filter version or the GameCube one? Was it?
No, Okami would have been before 2006, I think. Let's look at
That Wii version was a little rough.
Okami is before 2006, I believe, because it must have been 2005 Okami, like
Did you
probably
make the
the
Wii
max.
version of Okami is a bit rough?
What
Let's
happened?
see.
Oh no, the Wii version of Twilight Princess. Is
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Okami. the Wii version.
IGN
Oh, no,
Game
no.
of the Year wrap up. 26-minute video right here.
No, 2006 was Okami also.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
because the
Okami.
Wii version of Okami. I remember.
Okay.
No, I think the
what's famous
PS2
about
version.
that-
I think it came out on PS2 that year.
Yeah, the Wii came out
Actually,
2008. I know it was that late.
the Wii version of Okami,
Yeah.
what's famous about it is that the artwork, they took the art from
Mhm,
Yeah,
fucking
IGN.
IGN. This has a
Isn't it
IGN
crazy that I
watermark in it.
remembered that one
It's
Game
fucking
of the Year
crazy.
because of that whole? I remember the whole situation. Wii Sports. I'm just scrolling through some of the video. There's Twilight
2006.
Princess, and then I see Wii Sports. I mean, Wii Sports ahead
Yeah.
for me ahead of Twilight Princess. Here's Pierre looking young as hell.
I mean, 2006, you had Oblivion. Talking about Oblivion just came out.
I was surprised because I don't think I knew much. Okami wasn't like big on my radar. So when it got
Oh,
Game
look,
of the Year,
Oblivion. Yeah, it is one of those.
what is this video? I don't know.
Don't bother me. I'm playing video games.
Look at
Okay,
this guy's
sir.
haircut. So you got Oblivion, Okami, Rainbow Six Vegas.
That shit did blow my mind visually. I was like, holy shit.
Which one?
Although I
supposed
will
to do
say that
this?
the highest rated game of that year was Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess, yeah. Twilight Princess is a great game.
It's a,
It's a great
96
follow-up to Ocarina of Time. Yeah, it was 96.
95 on Wii.
It's because
Oh,
the
then after that,
Wii
Gears
piss
of War. Did they
filter.
talk about Gears of War?
No, that wasn't on
Twilight Princess was absolutely incredible, but I've always been salty about the fact
Look at
that those
Jessica
trailers,
Chobot.
man, half that shit wasn't in the game.
What's in the game? What's not in the game?
Like half the shit from the original Twilight Princess trailer wasn't in the game. I'm
Oh, yeah.
so salty about that. But that game is really fucking-
Jessica.
there.
Jessica.
She looks the same now. Like I just
Ooh,
seen her
wow.
on Instagram. She looks almost the same. Still.
Every time I see her, I think of that freaking Jamie Foxx little skit. Jessica. Jessica.
And that's crazy they didn't talk about Gears of War because I feel like that would have been huge that year. I mean,
Oh,
literally, that was
huge.
that was
Oh,
the
it's in
third.
here. It's right here.
Uh,
It
only
didn't
there,
get
but
its
it's not-
own. It didn't get its own segment.
That commercial was iconic.
Gears of
I
War,
really enjoyed Gears of War 1 and 2 when I first played them. I mean, I was blown away.
I mean,
but
I didn't care for Percy, but I mean, it's a
I
94
like
minute.
1, 2, and 3.
by the time I played
Those
3,
were
though, I
amazing.
was so done with that formula. I was like, really? This is like, yeah, I can't.
Wasn't-
I had to force
I'm still,
myself.
I'm still playing Gears, but I've rather enjoyed 5. So
I had to force myself through Gears 3 just because I bought the damn game. I was like, I'm gonna finish it, but yeah.
don't play that spin-off one though. Gears of War,
No.
what was it? Judgment. Oh,
I skipped
garbage.
4, played 5,
Utter
and I
garbage.
still felt the same fatigue from the formula. Like it's just, I loved the first 2. I thought 2 was way better than the first one.
I might play the second one. I don't know.
And then I remember playing Killzone 3, and I was like, this is just a first-person Gears of War wannabe game.
Yeah, Sony was definitely chasing Xbox for the first-person shooter stuff. That's when they started to turn. Actually, they started wanting to do more Western stuff.
Mm-hmm. But we'll see with the next Gears of War if they evolve it more.
Oh, yeah, well,
I don't
Gears 6. Oh no, it's Gears E-Day, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
How
So
about that?
anyway, you know, how long you guys got till you get your Switch 2s? Just over a month.
Too long,
Yes.
man. Too
You saying that
long.
like you gonna have one, but you saying like you.
If I don't secure one
if
at
Nintendo grants it,
if
Nintendo
I don't
has to
secure
grant
one
them
at Myers, who knows how long it'll take. I might have to have
Oh,
Robert.
what about the Nintendo one?
Well, we'll
Hopefully.
see. I just signed up like last Wednesday,
Oh,
and I
that
don't,
means you're
Oh.
definitely getting
I
one.
don't think that means much though. It might not mean much.
might be random. I think I qualify for
Might be
the.
random.
I don't know if they even do the qualification, the 100 or the 1 year of Switch Online, which technically I don't know if I've been a part of it for the last year.
Yeah, like every YouTuber, everybody I know, that I follow, they all got fucking Switch too.
I know.
They all said it was a horrible experience.
I know, but everyone got it.
typical, but they all got one.
Are you telling me that
So-
people lie on the internet? No fucking
Yeah.
way. No way.
I think actually,
It's
Terrible.
the biggest
I
fool
got
on the internet.
I thought
People lie.
Nia sounded like she didn't get one, and then I checked. Oh yeah, she's like
No.
Stop came
No, she got
through.
one.
I'm like, God damn it. I'm
She doesn't
literally-
care.
I think
She was
Shelfie
just
didn't
like-
get one. Robert, you remember Shelfie? I think she.
How do
You didn't get one?
Are
I
you
don't
being
think
dead ass?
What she? Why
I thought
did
she
say,
posted
"Oh,
she had to go back to work and didn't get one.
You follow
Uh,
Shelfie still?
I mean,
You don't. I felt so.
I do.
No reason not to.
Get back on the podcast, man.
Why? Oh, sorry.
she don't post that
I
often,
don't.
so
Wow.
that.
she's no Mandy. I mean, come on.
At least she posts
Man.
often. At least she posts often. If nothing else.
Hey man.
I'll
sometimes it's
follow
better
her
not
either, so what the fuck?
So how's that
Crazy.
Expedition 33? You said you downloaded it?
Yeah,
Oh, did you-
I streamed it Saturday. It's
Dude,
pretty
you
good. I
start
like it.
streaming, I'm like in bed by the time you start streaming now.
Well, then it's fine.
Why do you
Well,
start?
guess what?
You used to stream
The
a little
video,
earlier.
Man.
I want you to understand something. The video doesn't go away after I finish
I know.
streaming. You can
But I
watch
didn't
it
see it.
But it's not as fun. to
I don't
interact.
see
You're not
Twitch.
interacting
Twitch
at
doesn't
the
have that
time.
same. I don't go on Twitch just to check old videos and stuff.
But don't worry about it. I
But-
didn't stream it on Twitch. I streamed it on YouTube.
Did you? I didn't
Yeah.
see nothing. I got no notification of that.
I'll send it. I'll put it later in there.
So what do you think?
Like,
I,
Charles on some shit.
I'm a little
He's on
concerned about
overdrive
the-
with his uploads and everything. Every time I'm like, oh, I gotta make sure I watch this later. He uploaded fucking 2 new playthroughs and shit.
Hey man, I'm grinding, man.
Trying to expand his horizons, man.
I don't.
The journey
Just
starts
watching
today,
that game, I'm a little concerned. Like almost, it looks like every move you have to do the quick time button press. It's not just a random thing like in Xenoblade.
No, it's not a random thing. It's it depends if you're using your special, like your skills. Like normal attacks, it doesn't come
Okay.
up. But if you're using your skills, it comes up. Because if you get a perfect, it yields better
Well,
effects.
somebody put a clip together of this battle. They said
Mario.
it was way over leveled. They spent an hour and a half and they edited all the clips just to their attacks, and it was like 10 clips of a row of the same attack, same having to press the button at the right time. And I'm like, I didn't know it was edited. I'm
Well, I
like,
mean, that's
but then I was like,
that's
oh, I
RPG.
edited it all together. I don't mind it in X because it's a random thing. You just got to be awake. You know, you got to be paying attention during your battles. But if it
No, but
was
it's
going to
like-
be
it's
every
like
attack, I was gonna be like,
Mario.
nah, I'm good.
No, it's only skills. The normal, if you're doing like normal attacks, it doesn't
Dude,
come up at all.
there's no stream with the game.
Hold on.
I don't even have
for-
room for the fucking game.
So I guess I should have explained. Maybe I haven't explained this. I've been streaming on YouTube. That's what I've been
Well,
It's
doing.
not
but
on
I haven't
under your
goddamn
live.
room.
It's 3 months ago. Was the last one I showed.
Oh no, I'm gonna post it. Chill out.
Video-
how many
Videos.
Game
games?
Pass,
Is it
excuse me,
32
folks,
gigs?
but Game Pass
I'm gonna.
is cooking right now.
Dude, you
Game
might-
Pass is cooking. I don't even have enough room for the fucking games I want to download.
It
on
shows
there.
your last stream was 3 months ago.
No, wrong. You're on the wrong channel. That's
Oh, you
why.
got a second channel?
the channel that's
He's
only
got
for
3.
streams. Yeah, I do have
At
3.
least 3 that I
But
know of.
there you go. It's in
Well, I'm
the
not
main chat.
subscribed to that, so how would I?
I know. Listen, it's fine. It's.
I didn't even know you
it's
had
okay.
one.
It's your problem.
Is
man.
Gizzo
I'm
main
telling
it?
you, I'm telling you, it's fine.
That's
Because
like
you,
Terrell never having left a single comment on any of my videos.
all right, for you, bitch.
Oh, fuck.
Well, I
I'll
will
watch
say that
him. I'll watch him.
it is-
until-
it is, as of now, I mean, maybe it went down by a point, but it is the highest rated game of this year so far.
Yeah, it's like 92 or some shit. I saw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it beat
Yeah,
it beat Split Fiction by 1 point.
Which
I'm
one?
sorry. I do the same thing. I want to apologize. 'Cause I watch you guys' fucking videos, but the problem is I'm watching them on my smart TV. I am not
Your TV.
fucking typing shit in.
No, that's fair. That's
On my
absolutely
TV.
fair.
You know, I was like, oh fuck. And then I subconsciously try to remember to go back to the fucking video and type in something.
I'm usually
I at least like the video on my TV.
Hey,
I usually listen to videos while I have my Bluetooth speaker in the kitchen and my phone like
Yeah.
on the charger, Sometimes I better, I'll leave a message right now, and sometimes it auto plays the next thing. But all right, well, let's get out of here, and maybe things will change in the next 4 weeks for me. We'll see if I can.
No, don't worry. Other people can use a Switch that care more. The gamers who want it.
I'll just be playing my Super
You'll
Nintendo.
get an opportunity.
I'll just be playing my Super Nintendo, so I'll be good.
I know you'll be playing.
Just you saving it for retro.
I was playing NHL '94 last night at like 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
That game's hard. It's I have trouble scoring goals in that game. It's supposedly the best NHL game of all time.
See, I don't remember that one specifically.
So I picked it up for it was like $5, and
$5, damn.
Some those sports games. I'm glad I like sports games because those are all the cheap. There's
They're
not
cheap. Yeah.
I'm
Because
gonna
they ain't worth shit. Oh, my bad.
honestly.
They're not.
I'm realizing how much. I mean, sports games back in the NES, Super NES days were some of my favorite games because they were.
I actually kind of agree, man. NBA Jam on the Super Nintendo.
I was surprised
amazing.
Clocked It had double
3
dribble.
years ago, jeez.
Clocked It whipped out his double dribble in the box, complete edition. I'm
Double
like,
dribble. Yeah.
He whipped what out?
Whipped out
Double
his
dribble.
Yeah, he whipped out what?
whipped it right out.
Yo!
Whip it out.
You just let him whip it out in front of you? That's crazy. Protect
Did you
yourself.
dribble?
Do something.
A really
please.
good sports
When he
game on
whipped
the
it out, did you
NES
dribble?
right here. Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Not Punch Out featuring Mr. Dream, but Mike Tyson's Punch
Yeah,
Out.
that bullshit.
I heard you, T, from before.
You're-
But you still ain't slick. The fuck was that?
Damn.
But all right,
Too
we'll
easy.
get out of here, you guys. Thanks for joining us. I actually didn't check the chat in a while. Sorry about that.
Just remember to come behind Robert. Just remember that. Just remember
Right, get in
remember-
line
Who the fuck
and
is
come
that?
down. Game Pass cooking. Game
Why
Pass
do
is
you
cooking,
have
son.
this?
Don't act like it ain't cooking, boy.
For some reason,
Oblivion recap.
what is it?
Is that
What
a
is it?
capybara? What the hell is that? What the fuck? Where'd you get that? Why you got that? You're a grown ass man.
From my brother's side.
Rob, Terrell, did you order your 1/3 scale Eve from Stellar Blade?
No.
How you gonna shove that gerbil in?
Go get this. Gotta get it.
Dude, they're sold out. Sorry to go back to this. Eve and Taki Stellar Blade, $3,899 for both. Or $2,400 each. Or no, it's $5,000. No.
It's called an investment juice.
4,000 for both, or 2,600 for each, maybe.
Robert, I swear, bro. Robert,
We're
I hate
still
you
live?
so-
Yeah, we're still live.
You're terrible.
All right, we'll get out of here.
What? It's still alive? It's
Sorry.
still alive?
What did you show? I missed it.
You put up this gerbil.